normal, certainly at this stage of the season. But in Trammell and Whitaker, you have a couple of guys, as you know, have already set the American League record for most games played by a couple of teammates, and Trammell and Lou still doing it numbers-wise. Tram and Lou combined have won 3 games at the final at bat. You may recall the one that Alan had late in June against the Milwaukee Brewers when he knocked one out. Still more than representative numbers.
Yeah, you know, playing last 3 years, Alan has not played on a regular basis, but has lost a lot of the power that he has as a younger kid, of course. But this is when the Tigers were playing well. They were still in the hunt, and he came up with a big hit. And, of course, Lou Whitaker, boy, he just dropped below 299. But, again, playing sparingly, but he has those great hands and 14 home runs this year. He also had a game-winning home run this year. This one came in August. I think it was against Chicago White Sox. And but that guy can still hit, and they can both still play. Who knows what they're going to do next year? Look at Tram. Love that. Who knows what they're going to do next year? Only time will tell.
In fact, Tram even admitted before the game that, yes, he'll look around the ballpark a little bit, even if this is his final game, maybe to soak in some of the the feeling of playing baseball at Tiger Stadium. As for Sparky Anderson, well, Jason Hillman had a chance to chat with the skipper before the ball game. Let's head out to the plaza and catch up with Jason.
Thanks very much, Fred McLeod. It is a festive atmosphere down here in the Tiger Plaza, and as you mentioned in the open, very much like opening day. The difference is where opening day is a celebration of the season to come, today seems to be a celebration of what is in the past, and that is a love affair that Tiger fans have had with Sparky Anderson, Alan Trammell, and Lou Whitaker for just under 2 decades. Now, nothing is etched in stone about the future of these three with the Tigers, as you mentioned, but the handwriting is certainly on the wall. So I asked Sparky Anderson if this is indeed his last day here at Tiger Stadium and his last couple of weeks as Tigers manager, will he be sentimental about it?
I just have always been that way. It isn't a thing that I don't appreciate things and all that. It's just that I've never been a type of person that I don't know. I don't go out and get all emotional and do all those things. I love, you know, my 17 years here have been, I think, it's the greatest 17 years I've ever spent in my life. So, but I'll never be emotional about it because it's always been so wonderful, you know. I don't think you can get emotional about things that have been so good to you.
And Sparky told us before the game that he only gets sentimental when it comes to his family. He only gets emotional when it comes to his family. But I have to believe that maybe after today, behind some closed doors, he may shed a few tears because this Tiger organization has been like a family to Sparky Anderson. We'll talk with one of his family members. Fred McLeod has a chat with Alan Trammell when this Tiger Baltimore Oriole extravaganza comes up next. This one's a keeper on Pass.
You know, Sparky was talking in his office. He said that I don't look in my rearview mirror and I don't look back, and he's not a nostalgia kind of guy and not looking like this could be his final home game. Did you do anything differently, feel anything different, any twinges this morning?
Well, just because of the fact that there's been a lot of speculation, and it seems like the been a lot of talk about Lou and I, and of course Sparky possibly not coming back, and you know, that all could happen. But you know, I'm trying to really focus on trying to play the game. I realize that for me of late I haven't been doing that well, and I like to get a hit. I like to help this ball club win, but I do appreciate all the support. I mean, gosh, if it is the end right now, it's been a great run. We've had some great years here, and you know, I'm going to cherish those memories and reflect on those a little bit, you know, more when I'm done, if that's the case. But you know, I'm kind of overwhelmed by this, to be honest with you, because both Lou and I, over the years, have just tried to do our job. It's kind of the way this town is. It's a blue-collar town, and I think that we've been appreciated over the years, but we've never tried to seek the limelight. We just wanted to be ourselves and help this ball club, which I believe we've done over our career.
Hey, Trem, even though you're a professional, and even though, as you say, you've gone about doing things on a daily basis, that's what has made you guys professionals and been your trademark, but won't you look around and maybe look at Lou and Sparky, just soak it in, maybe just internally, maybe you don't even share it with anybody?
No question about it, especially with all the kind of the hype and the talk about it. Certainly I'm going to look over there. Whenever I play with Lou, it's always something special because, you know, we're always going to be known as a tandem, and that's going to be something that we're going to feel very good about today and down the road. And again, I see all the fans around here, and I see some of the signs, and you know, it certainly makes you feel very good inside. And I'm hoping that you know, if you could write a script for today's ball game, you know, we win the ball game and we end it with a double play. Whether or not that happened, that's probably a slim chance, but you never know. And if we do, then maybe I'll grab second base and give it to Lou.
Sure. You know, Lou is, and you and Lou are different. I mean, you express things differently. You go about your business maybe a little bit differently, although the end is the same result. But you've said, and I was pretty impressed with this, that you're more proud, and Cal Ripken was envious. He said he was envious that you're more proud of the fact that you and Lou are together and always mentioned the same breath. Do you think Lou feels the same way?
Absolutely. There's no question about it. He might not express himself the way I do, but deep down, like just thinking back to '87 when he took that second base out after we won the division in 1987. He's got feelings. He might not express them, but everybody's different. We're all different personalities. But again, when we're on that field, we have a special bond, and that'll never change. And it's just, I can't overemphasize the fact that it's been a great run for us. Maybe the last couple of years haven't been quite what we have liked, but my gosh, if you play as long as we have, you're not going to win every single year. But when we look back through the 80s and all the success that we had as one of the best, most successful franchises in baseball, you know, those are special moments.
Sure. You know, Lou has kiddingly said it's like a marriage. You guys have been together so long, and normal spouses have little spats, little arguments, disagreements. Have you guys ever had any sort of disagreement at all?
I honestly, Fred, no.
Really?
And I was being asked that yesterday by a few people, and I guess one of the reasons why there hasn't been a jealousy is we knew that they wanted us together, but if he was another shortstop, maybe I would have felt differently. Right. But he was a second baseman. He wasn't going to take my job. And we realized that way back that they were hoping that this tandem to work out. No one, again, could envision it working out as long as it has. But there has really never been any jealousy, and I'm proud to say that.
And I would guess 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the road that if you pick up the phone or you see him somewhere, it'll be like you guys have never been separated, right?
Very true. And along with Lou, I mean, I'd like to put in like a Kirk Gibson, a Tom Brookins, Jack Morris, Dan Petrie, guys like that came up together. See, that'll never change. That's our fraternity, and we'll always reflect on that. It might be a couple months, it might be a year, but once we sit down or chat on the phone, it'll be like we never missed a beat, and those are things that we'll remember forever also.
One final question. Sparky says, in some ways, because he couldn't spend as much time with his children, that you and Lou and Jack and the rest of the guys were almost like sons to him. Do you almost feel a paternal relationship with him too?
I do, and I'm smiling now because I'm smiling for the reason that I'm glad we were smart enough years ago to accept what he was trying to teach us. I know now, and now as a father and also as a veteran player, why he was trying to do these things. And he was hard on us initially, and I mean by hard, he was giving us direction. And I know now why we needed that to make us better players and also better people on and off the field. And if I'm involved in the game of baseball, a lot of those things that Sparky's passed along to me, I'm going to pass along to some of these young kids and hopefully get the players quicker, because the sooner they can grasp some of the things that Sparky's taught us, the better off they're going to be.
Alan Trammell, a big part of Detroit Tiger history, along with Lou Whitaker. Stay with us now. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after this.
Well, you see Sparky Anderson out for the lineups with Phil Regan, the Orioles skipper. And again, you can't help but look at him, Jimmy, on this kind of day and wonder if this is his final soiree at Tiger Stadium. It'll be announced after he sits down with John McHale, perhaps even a day, maybe 2 days after the end of the season.
Well, it's interesting. We haven't seen Sparky bring the lineup out very often, so he keeps throwing those little nails at you that I guess it's what the old saying, you got to hit me over the head, you know, to figure out what's going on. But you're right, he's just a fantastic guy. The thing that impresses me, forget about what he does with the players and all that stuff, how he handles the media. I've never seen anybody handle the media like he does, and always he's available all the time. I mean, he'll be in there with 10 people. You say, I need a quick interview. I'll be right back. Goes out, does the interview, comes back. I mean, it's unbelievable. And, of course, that information goes out to all the fans. So he's just the patience that he has is something to behold.
We asked him today in his office, won't you look around this office and remember? He says, we asked him, what will you remember most? He said, well, probably all the BS that I threw around.
The master.
And
the master.
And some of it stuck.
That's right, the master of disguise. You know, I've talked to Sparky many, many times. I walked away and said, What did he say? You know? All right, everybody, the Tigers have taken the field. There's Lou and Tram. Starting today for Baltimore will be Mike Mussina, one of the top pitchers in the American League, against the left-hander C.J. Nitkowski, who's had a difficult time so far this year. All right, for the Birds this afternoon, leading off playing center field, Jarvis Brown. Batting second in left field, Brady Anderson. Cal Ripken Jr. will bat third and play shortstop, of course. Bobby Bonilla will bat fourth at third base. Rafael Palmeiro in the fifth spot at first. Chris Hoyles will do the catching and bat sixth. Now batting seventh will be the DH Harold Baines. Mark Smith will bat eighth and play right field. Jeff Houston will be the second baseman and he'll bat ninth. For the Tigers defensively, starting in left, it'll be Nevin, Curtis, and Higginson. In the infield, Fryman, Alan Trammell, Lou Whitaker, Tony Clark, John Flaherty, C.J. Nitkowski. C.J.'s had a tough time since coming over in the big trade for David Wells. He's making his 10th start for the Tigers. His last one was not a good one. He's 1-3 with a high ERA. He went 2 1/3 innings against Texas, gave up 7 hits. But you look at the innings pitched, 30 innings, 44 hits, only 11 strikeouts and 16 walks. And Ralph Troil, the pitching coach, talks about him. Ralph, C.J. Nitkowski, the feeling is we haven't seen the real C.J. yet.
Well, this has been a very long season for C.J., you know, given what he's done in high school and college. I'm sure his season was nowhere near what he's had to pitch this year, and he's a little worn out right now. But, you know, C.J.'s going to have to step up his game today against Mussina, and if we can get 5 or 6 good innings out of him today, then we'll be very happy.
And there is C.J. hoping to turn things around now as a member of the Detroit Tigers. And there they are. Lou Whitaker on the right of your screen and Alan Trammell to the left. Is this the last time we will see this at Tiger Stadium? All right, Freddie.
Lewis at second. Trammell short. 1,917 times. 98 short of the Major League record, but the American League record is just fine, thank you. Jarvis Brown, the hitter, to lead it off, followed by Brady Anderson and Cal Ripken Jr. against Nitkowski. Both starting pitchers today throw that knuckle curve, although Mussina certainly has mastered his over time.
He's got a dandy.
Along with a great changeup. Nitkowski in time would love to be able to lean on those two pitches as well as his fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Brown, as you see, has moved around a little bit. He's a little guy, 5'7", with some speed. 2-1 the count.
Told you it felt like opening day. 59 degrees.
Fastball off the end of the bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Part of CJ's problem has been, Jim, as you know, when he falls behind and then obviously issues some free passes and gives them extra base runners, but when he's been able to throw strikes, those have been the successful outings that he has had. Nice short fly ball to right field. Higginson got a late break and slipped, but still managed to get there for the first out.
Well, he tried to put a little excitement in it for everybody. Now, talking about CJ, I think, and I have to agree with him, here's a young kid, played in the East Coast. High school, you only play 12, 13 games if you're lucky. Eastern College, you don't play a lot of ball games. All of a sudden, pro ball, he has got to strengthen that arm. And the things that I don't see that I know the Tigers saw before was a lot of zip on his pitches. We're not seeing that good zip with him this year.
Fastball high, ball 1. Brady Anderson, the hitter, hitting .260 with 15 homers. That's 57 RBIs. He's 5 for 13 in this series. One ball, 1 strike to count. Baltimore began the day 5.5 games in front of the Tigers. But you can't help but look out west. Seattle has caught California. Who would have thought that? They were up in 11 games.
And they might have been, Cleveland was scared of them.
Oh, sure.
Cleveland was in here and said, boy, if we got to play California.
All that left-handed pitcher. I mean, if they blow this lead, I mean, I would think psychologically it could be damaging for that franchise.
Could be like the Babe Ruth spell over Boston.
You know? Or like the '64 Phillies.
Yeah.
Anderson fights it off into left center field. On comes Nevin. Can't get there. So a 5th single for Brady Anderson.
Well, the birds aren't exactly tattooing the ball. The first one was a similar type bloop, and now this one able to fall in between Tram, Nevin, and Chad Curtis. Boy, a good swing, but the pitch is in on him. You can tell, everybody, usually when they pop it up, the pitch will be in on them. They don't get their hands out, they'll hit the ball even with them, and that's what he did that time.
Here's Cal Ripken Jr. Got a nice warm ovation every time he's walked into the batter's box for the first time. Winning 251 with 15 homers, driven home 74. What a baseball ambassador he has become.
Couldn't have picked a better person to handle what he's had to handle.
Big strike one. Right after he set the record and then went to Cleveland, the Indian Ball Club in mass stood and applauded him. Ripken fouls it away. No balls, 2 strikes.
He has had a difficult time. Since he set that record, he's 3 for like 44, 45 now.
Yeah, 3 for 44 exactly. 0 for 10 in this series. Before the ball game, the Tigers said thank you. Travis Fryman, on behalf of the ball club, presenting Cal with a Waterford Crystal plaque. Beautiful. Emblematic of his record-setting performance, which continues to build by the day.
And rightly so, presented by Travis Fryman, who's played every game for the Tigers, and also as the player representative, and we won't hold that against him. I used to be the player rep. Not an easy job.
So you know that, right? This is Ripken's 2,145th successive game. And even on Monday, when he met with the media for the only time, he said, I have no idea when the streak will end. I'm going to approach it just like I always have, which I think lends even more credence to the record. You know, had he come out, you know, a couple games after the streak, then there'd be something sour about it. But the fact that, who knows, maybe it's 3,000 games that he finally plays before injury takes him out, or retirement, who knows. Kowski keeping Anderson close. He's their best base stealer. Earlier this year, he had the American League record, which Tim Raines then broke for successive steals. 34 going back to last year. Base hit to left. Ripken's first hit of the series. That was sharply hit. So 2 on and 1 out. And then he'll bring up Bobby Bonilla. Bonilla has been trouble in this series with 5 base hits and 12 plate appearances. That's his American League average at .313 with 9 homers and 36 ribbies. You throw in his Mets numbers, and he's having a heck of a year, Jim. 27 homers, 89 RBI.
Well, he's always been a force offensively. Position has always been a problem for him. But anytime you have the power that he has and you can hit from both sides of the plate, you're a valuable commodity for a ball club. And playing in Baltimore, which is a small ballpark, should help his numbers in the future.
Bonilla fouls it off, 0-2. That combined American and National League numbers, Bonilla is hitting .320 this year. Which, if these would hold up, would be his best batting average season in the major leagues. Squibs it off the end of the bat. Tony Clark smothers it for the out. 2 down, and now runners at second and third. How would you rate Tony Clark's play at first base in the limited time you've seen him here?
Oh, I think he's got to get more familiar with it. I don't think he's played all that much. And really the only way to learn is under game conditions. You can practice all you want, but you can't duplicate the things that will happen in the game. And,
just like that, the ball.
That's right. He's a terrific athlete, obviously. You know, he's got a long way to reach because of those long legs. But I think in time he's going to be fine at first base.
Well,
he has great hands.
Right. Well, being a highly sought-after high school basketball player,
Sure.
you know he's an athlete.
Well, hand-eye coordination. Basketball and baseball are so similar from that standpoint. In fact, Ernie asked me, who would you think would be the better baseball players? And I said, well, obviously basketball players with hand-eye coordination. Even though I heard from some of my hockey buddies, they said, we were good ball players, too.
Right. They could slap it.
Yeah.
Rafael Palmeiro, the batter. 1 ball, 1 strike to him. Important out for C.J. Nitkowski here. Obviously wants to get the third out and get out of this inning unscathed. But when you're talking about a young pitcher maturing and fighting ups and downs, this is a case where he needs to clear this hurdle. Breaking ball popped up. And they'll get out of the inning. Trammell calling for it. And the Orioles go down in the first inning. They had a couple of base hits. The Tigers coming to bat.
All right, here's the Tiger lineup for the afternoon. Leading off and playing center field, Chad Curtis. Batting second, playing right field, Bobby Higginson. Travis Fryman will bat third at third base. Cecil, the DH, batting fourth. Lou Whitaker batting fifth, playing second base. And Alan Trammell batting sixth at shortstop. Tony Clark will play first base and bat seventh. Phil Nevin in left field, batting eighth. And John Flaherty will be doing the catching and batting ninth. All right, for the Birds defensively, starting in left, it'll be Brady Anderson, Jarvis Brown, and then Mark Smith in right field. In the infield, Bobby Bonilla, Cal Ripken Jr., Jeff Houston at second, Rafael Palmeiro at first base, doing the catching, Chris Hoyles, and a dandy Mike Messina pitching for the Birds. He's making his 30th start of the year, and this is a third start of the year against the Tigers. He's 16-9. He's tied for the league with number of wins at 16. Good ERA. 194 and 2/3 innings. Has given up only 177 hits, walked 43, and 137 strikeouts. Coach Dick Trzaskowski talked about this outstanding pitcher. Roomy, a terrific pitcher, Mike Messina.
Well, he's one of the 3 or 4 best pitchers in the American League. You know, he's got all the pitches. He knows how to pitch. He's, he's been giving up a few runs lately, but he's the kind of guy after the first inning or two, you look at him and you say, well, he's not throwing real good, but he's getting by. And as he goes along, he gets better and better and better. He's one of the better pitchers in the league, and he's going to be very difficult.
And I'll tell you what, he's as good as they come. He has a good knuckle curve. He's got a slider, a changeup, and a split finger and a fastball. He's got a lot in his arsenal, and he knows how to pitch. He does not give in to the hitters, and if he has his good stuff and good control, he has a lot of first pitch strikes. Not a good outing. His last outing only went 4 2/3, gave up 9 hits and 5 runs. So Mike Messina, Freddie, a good one on the mound.
That occurred against the Yankees in a rain-shortened ball game in which New York won 6-5. That was on Saturday. Now, we saw him earlier in the year. He was really struggling with his control, but he got that back to norm, and he's always been around the strike zone.
Yeah, in fact, against the Tigers, he had his shortest outing ever earlier in the year here at Tiger Stadium.
That's right. Chad Curtis, the leadoff man, takes ball 1 from Messina.
Tell you what, Chad having a great year, but he's had a great career against Messina, batting .406, 13 for 32.
In fact, in a game last year, he had a home run in which the Angels hit 5 against Messina and knocked him out of the box that day. Quickly Messina behind. And the game Jim was talking about, his shortest exit ever, he only lasted an inning against the Tigers. They tattooed him for 6 earned runs and 5 base hits and 4 pitches. And the Tigers have a base runner. So Curtis the leadoff walk, and that'll bring up Bobby Higginson, number 2 man in Sparky's lineup today. 2 for 8 in the series is Bobby. hitting .225, 14 home runs. He's driven home 42.
Tigers would like to see all these kids get it together this last week and a half and then go into spring training with a lot of confidence next year. Bobby Higginson loved to get it going. Like to see him get a couple more home runs and get that average up a little bit.
Certainly been a year of growth for Bobby.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think he's proven he can play here. He has grown a lot this year, but the batting average and the RBIs is something that you need to have a better performance offensively if you're going to play right field or left field.
You know, Al Kaline has talked about him having an uppercut swing.
Who was that?
Yeah, Al.
Never heard of it.
How hard is it to correct an uppercut swing?
I wouldn't think it'd be that difficult. I mean, we worked on it all the time, trying to actually swing down on the ball to exaggerate it, then get more of a level swing. But I think he can make some adjustments. There you go.
Easy base hit. Not bad. Dumps a single to right center field. Curtis will hustle his way to third. And the Tigers have runners at the corners and nobody now.
That's all you have to do. I told you, Bobby, that before the game. That's good wood that he got on that one.
Balsa wood?
Yeah, balsa wood. All right, if you're not going to swing hard, just do that. Look at that. He kind of looked like a little short slap shot there in the right center field. Look at that. Placed it perfectly.
Proving again that hockey players could play this game.
Absolutely, and proving that they even out. So they say.
Yeah, that looked like a screaming line drive in the newspaper.
Yeah, well, and somewhere down the line, he hit a line drive and somebody caught it. So there's even Steven.
Here's Travis Fryman, the number 3 man in the lineup. Travis just a couple of base hits in the series and 10 at bats, so his average dropped a couple of points to 282. Continues to play every inning of every ball game.
In fact, he and Chad even played in that game, the Hall of Fame game.
It's right against the Cubs.
I mean, these guys are crazy, boy.
Gluttons for punishment.
I remember on the plane, Sparky called Travis over. I was sitting next to Sparky, and he says, look, he says, I'm going to give you tomorrow off. I need to. What do you mean give me tomorrow off? I'll play. Don't worry about me. Give some of the other guys the day off. Boy, he's something.
Yeah, he's a guy that you call a gamer, don't you?
Yeah, Mike Flanagan, the pitching coach, out to talk to his outstanding starting pitcher, and I'm sure he's saying, hey, what's going on? You're not supposed to do things like this. But the leadoff walk got him in trouble, and a check swing base hit, now falling behind the count with Travis.
You know, I asked Sparky before the game, I said, if you had to pick one, I know it's not a fair question, but if you had to pick one guy that you've managed, who might be the closest to being like a son? And he started to answer it, and then all of a sudden, you know, Morgan came out, and Phillips, and Bench, and Trammell, and so he reeled off about 20 sons.
And that's a Sparky answer.
Dan Petrie was a part of that group. He couldn't pick one. Down to the third, but he smothers it. A runner will score. No double play. That wasn't a pretty turn by Houston at second, but Bobby Higginson some credit on the slide, and the Tigers leading 1-0. So RBI number 73 for Fryman.
Well, Bobby Bonilla is going to get a second baseman killed because Bonilla is the one that butchered this.
Yep.
He had a hard time catching it. Now watch, he slips, then he takes his time, and that's when you take that split second time there, that guy running between first and second, his radar kind of zones in on you, and you can get hurt. That's why that double play didn't work.
So one down and the runner at first, and Cecil Fielder stands in, takes ball one. Cecil had an RBI hit yesterday, upping his RBI count to 81 now. Has the 31 homers, batting .246. Mussina's pitch, I think, maybe that really makes it tough is his outstanding change.
Oh,
he can throw it behind the count.
Right. Great motion on all his pitches. He throws out of the same slot, so it's very difficult for a hitter to gauge what it is.
Same spot, same result.
Yeah, those kids from Pennsylvania are tough. You know.
Eastern Pennsylvania.
Especially Eastern Pennsylvania.
Dick Trzaskowski's one of those. Or northeastern Pennsylvania.
Yeah, beautiful country up by the Poconos.
Seen it with an exaggerated dip of the right shoulder as he gets set. Three straight fastballs high and away, punching out Cecil Fielder. That one out with a strike zone. And that'll bring up Sweet Lou. Standing ovation from the crowd for Whitaker. That's nice.
That is terrific.
And that's
Lou in his way acknowledging it also.
there's the grin. That's all I wanted to see. And Lou's the kind of guy that doesn't express a lot of things outward. He keeps almost all of his life private from us in the media. And it's been hard to get to know him, but you know there's an engine boy that drives this guy and has driven him for almost 20 years.
It's called God-given baseball ability.
And you know, Sparky was saying the same thing. You know, you ask him what sets Lou and Trammell apart. He said, talent.
Oh, yeah.
Plain and simple.
Sure.
One word.
Lou is blessed with unbelievable ability.
Former third baseman turned second baseman. And the rest is history, as they say in Motown.
And how close he came to going to the Yankees. I remember 2 years ago. Gene Michael, the general manager, was going to put him at third base.
And he could have played it.
Oh, sure.
With those quick hands. You know he's got the arm for it. Although not quite as strong as it used to be. I have never seen a second baseman, Jim, make that play up the middle and throw against his body with as much strength as he has.
I have and accuracy. I never have seen anybody like that either. And I'm a year or two older than you, Freddie.
You've seen it. You saw
Mazeroski. How about Mazeroski? I mean, there's so many great ones out there. Bobby Richardson. I'm talking about classic second baseman.
Three balls and a strike to Whitaker. His pal Trammell on deck. Something nice about seeing those two guys together in the batting order. And Lou draws the walk. Here comes another standing O now for number 3. Enjoy. Going back, has plenty of room, and puts it away. Well, the first of several ovations, I'm sure, to come for Whitaker and Tramm on their day, perhaps their final day as a player at Tiger Stadium. Tigers get a run in the opening inning. They get a base hit, a couple of walks, and after one, lead it 1-0.
Coming up for Baltimore, Chris Hoyles, Harold Baines, and then Mark Smith. Well, Jim's Gems was my pleasure today and very easy. Let's take a look at them. There you go. Tramm and Lou. Nothing else needs to be said. Coach Dick Trzaskowski has some comments about these fellas. Trixie, you've seen these kids develop. You've seen them play. Is there any one thing that would stick out in your mind when you talk about Lou Whitaker and Alan Trammell?
Character. They're boys of high character. Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker are great kids. They've given us an identity over the years. They've been our leaders on and off the field. And I want to emphasize off the field. They're really great kids. And it's sad, you know, it's sad to see their careers wind down. But I guess that's the way it is. I've seen just about every game they've ever played in the big leagues and just about every hit. And I remember their first game in Boston very, very well. I thought they were kind of skinny kids. but it was a pleasure to be around them, and it was a pleasure to be on the same field with them.
That's great. And there they are, skinny kids, no longer kids, both of them closing in on 40. Hard to believe, 40 years old, right around the corner. Yeah, geez, if they're almost 40, Dick Trzaskowski must have been, let's see it, at that time. Yeah. I don't want to get my roomie mad at me.
Tram says he remembers that day at Fenway Park like it was yesterday. Lou had gotten a base hit his first time up, and then later in the game, Tram came up, had a base hit, was at second base, and then was driven in by Lou Whitaker off Reggie Cleveland. The name out of the past.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Hoyles lead it off in the second inning against C.J. Nitkowski. All inside. Hoyles, the EMU product, has struggled a bit this year, although his RBI count a little bit better than it was. That was his home run number.
Well, the problem with this Baltimore club, people ask what happened to them, is hitting with men on base. They did not do that well at crunch time, and that's why they're in third place.
Breaking ball, a couple of taps to Friday for the out. You know, Frank Beckman and Larry Sorensen were talking yesterday on the radio, trying to recall a bad throw that Travis has made this year. Can you recall one?
No, we talked about this earlier. No, in fact, I've said it for a couple years that I have not seen him make a bad throw. And I'm not sure I've ever seen anybody play a better third base than him.
And he's had 12 errors, but he's made a lot of excellent plays this year.
But see, that's a misnomer. Somebody that plays a good third base like that, or Alan Trammell in his prime, they're going to have errors because they're going to get to more balls. And that's why that the fielding championships and all that. I remember a fellow at Cincinnati. Who was the fellow that had the sleeveless shirts? Great first baseman, left-handed hitting. Trzaskowski. Right. He couldn't move off a dime, but he won the Gold Glove a couple years in a row. Well, a couple years in a row. Give me somebody who's going to get to some balls that might make an error. That's the type of player you want.
I think this is the best year he's had playing first.
Oh, at third base. He can play first too.
Flip to Nitkowski for the easy out. So he's been able to get inside so far in the early part of this ball game, which is a good sign.
Well, it's a good sign. Another good sign is that it means that maybe there's some movement on his pitches that we haven't seen before. And again, you know, I have a tendency, I know, to stick up for the players because I've been there, but you got to believe that there's something there that we're not seeing. The Tigers didn't give up David Wells to get him and a couple other fellows for nothing. And I just have a feeling that next year, maybe with some rest and building his strength up a little bit, that maybe we'll see a different type pitcher.
And why would the Cincinnati Reds make him a high first-round draft pick?
That's what I'm trying to say.
And they've been famous for their scouting of talent for years and years. Mark Smith, the hitter. I think 236 with a couple of home runs. He's driven home 9. Getting a good long look-see in this month of September. He's a rookie. He, too, a former #1 draft pick of this club back in '91. But he was the 9th selection that year. That pitch got away from C.J. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, you talk about high payrolls. How about Baltimore's payroll? In the infield, Bonilla, Ripken, and Palmera.
And no guarantee that this club is going to win a division next year.
That's right.
Heat is really on Phil Riggin.
Well, what a great guy. I had mentioned Ernie yesterday, which I think is interesting to think about. Baltimore is just baseball. There are no other franchises there, so everything centers around baseball. Here in Detroit, at least when hockey starts and football and other sports, a little pressure is off. baseball.
Nice sunny hop for Tram. And he comes across to the out. So a good 1, 2, 3 inning for C.J. Nitkowski. And after an inning and a half, the home team in front by a run.
Detroit Tiger Baseball on Pass Sports is brought to you by Kendall Oil. Important protection of Kendall Motor Oil today. And the Tigers on Pass Sports are sponsored by Hoover. Nobody gets the dirt like Hoover. Nobody. And just a reminder, you can join Hall of Fame Tiger announcer and my partner, Ernie Harwell, only on Pass Sports. For Ernie Harwell on baseball, get a glimpse of the legends and the lure of the Grand Old Game, plus Ernie's exclusive interviews with some of baseball's top performers. Ernie Harwell on baseball is a Pass Sports exclusive, Sunday nights at 7 and Wednesday nights at 10:30. And also, I want to remind everybody, because of Alan Trammell going to be the commissioner, about the official Detroit Tiger Dream Week coming up next January with Commissioners Alan Trammell and Al Kaline. Round-trip airfare, transfers, complete Tiger uniform, lunch every day, barbecues every night, all meals in the Tiger Town cafeteria, picture day, autograph night, video included, play a couple games. You have batting cages. You play at the official spring training site at Marchand Stadium in Tiger Town. Big awards banquet, much, much, much more, and I mean much more, coming up. Call 1-800-388-5769 and join Alan Trammell and Al Kaline.
How much more?
A lot more this year. There's a lot. The Tigers are really going to give out some goodies that going to surprise some folks.
Change up for Musita, delivered to Tony Clark, ball 1. Tiger rookie hitting .206, has 3 hits in the series. What a likable young guy this is.
Very articulate and bright.
And he was recruited, you know, for baseball and basketball. He says he basically could have had his pick. I mean, UCLA and Southern Cal especially came after him hard since he grew up in San Diego, but he chose Arizona knowing they had a good basketball and baseball program. Wood Olson and Jerry Kindall, former Indians infielder, played with the Cubs too.
Yeah, Jerry did. Yeah, I knew Jerry quite well.
2 balls and a strike to the big fella. Waves at that fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. He's trying to pull the ball a little bit more, because the biggest thing he has noticed coming from AAA to the major leagues is that these guys pitch him tight. Or in his minor league career, they perhaps respected his power too much and pitched him away all the time. There's a strike. Lucina with a strikeout, a perfect pitch in the outside corner, knee high. And that's his second strikeout. That'll bring up the number 8 man on the lineup, Phil Nevin. His average at 194 at the start of today's play. Has a couple of hits in the series, 2 for 10. You see the fastball, a strike. You worried at all about Nevin in terms of hitting?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he could be a good RBI man. You know, you don't look for him to hit .330 or anything like that, but I think he's going to be a good RBI left fielder for this ball club. You know, and we've talked so much about the hitch that he has, but again, if you do those things in time and get it back into the hitting slot, you're okay.
The 0-2 pitch. Still 0-2.
I was talking to Joe Klein, the Tigers general manager, about him. He said, you know, I've seen things that I like. Yes, we'd like him to be hitting better, but for instance, Toronto, he was taken out of the game in the 8th or 9th inning for Milt Kyler for defense. At the end of the game, which the Tigers won, he was the first one out to start congratulating the rest of the players. Little things like that really mean a lot.
Nasty breaking ball there. Still 0-2.
And I think the other thing, Fred, is the kids that have come up, the Nevins, the Clarks, CJs. I can go right down the line. Clint Sadowski, all of them. It's a breath of fresh air. They're delightful. They're signing autographs. They're talking to people. They're the type of people that I think the Tiger fans are going to embrace as time goes on. And they're not all going to make it. Let's face it, they're not all going to be bona fide big leaguers, but some of them will, and there'll be some other names that step forward also.
And as long as they play hard.
Absolutely, and they have.
People in this town will receive them well, and sure they want a pennant winner, but as long as you play hard, Tiger fans will be appreciative. Evan lays off. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Messina's an interesting pitcher. He will change his game plan. He will start out throwing hard stuff, which he has for the most part. Later on the game, let's take a look at him if he's still in, see if he's going to more breaking stuff, all-speed stuff. But early in the game so far, it's been a lot of hard stuff. As soon as I say that, he throws a changeup, right?
Well, yeah, it is tough to detect a pitching pattern, which makes him a good pitcher.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. And you have to remember how you pitch certain fellows the first time up, what your first pitch was to them. And as a hitter, you think that way also. You have to go up with a game plan.
These two guys facing each other for the first time. Having a good at bat here, just staying alive. He was down 0-2. Still battling with a 3-2 count. John Flaherty on deck. Tiger shoved across the run in the first inning with a couple of walks and a base hit. Strike 3. Evan thought it was inside. Mussina with a strikeout. Terry Kraft called him out. So the 3rd strikeout for the Oriole right-hander.
I think that's one of the disappointing things, all the strikeouts that the team has had, not just the young kids, but also some of the veteran ball players. In the last couple of weeks, the ball club has struck out an awful lot.
The Tigers have 918 Ks, by far more than any team in the American League. Hard breaking ball in the dirt, ball 1.
And the kids especially have taken a lot of third called strikes. Up here, if it's borderline, you really have to be ready to swing. You have to know who's pitching, because Messina's going to get a pitch like that. Phil Nevin right now will not get that pitch.
Good point. Fastball wrapped up the middle. Easy play for Ripken. 3 up, 3 down for Mike Mussina in inning number 2. After 2, the Tigers still lead at 1-0.
Coming up for Baltimore will be Jeff Houston, Jarvis Brown, and then Brady Anderson. Well, this is Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker's day, and we're going to, from time to time, show you some flashbacks from their great careers. And this first one is a grand slam home run hit by Alan Trammell, 1988, in the bottom half of the 9th inning to beat the Yankees. Let's take a look.
It's a big advantage now for Detroit. Allen hits anything in the gaps. Well, Salazar will take off here on a 3-2 pitch. He'll be able to score.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. Long drive. This could be. It is a grand slam. Tiger slam.
That's when Alan Trammell had that live bat.
So quick through the hitting zone.
Oh, boy.
So Nitkowski in his 3rd inning of work now. We'll get a look at the 9, 1, and 2 hitters. It'll be Jeff Houston, followed by Jarvis Brown and Brady Anderson. Tigers head to New York from here. They'll finish the season. This series against the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Orioles. Boston, as you probably know, clinched the American League East last night. So they're in. Now the question becomes, who will grab the final 2 spots?
Boy, this has been our lucky day, Freddie. We got some fabulous cookies from Beth Schetzline, who is from Taylor, a big Tiger fan, who you helped me eat, and the rest of the crew. They were outstanding, not fattening at all. And then now Kathleen Fryman, future mama, sends me up some cookies from Mrs. Fields. You know she's over 2 months pregnant now and expecting her first child. She's a doll. Travis, you're a lucky guy.
That's for sure. Houston standing and hitting 261. High pop-up won't be playable. Houston, the former Texas Ranger, at age 31 now in his 5th big league season. '93 was really his down year when he tore his anterior cruciate ligament, or tore his rotator cuff rather, and then had a broken toe all in the same season. He wound up signing with his Baltimore ball club last December. And he's had to fight his way back to the big leagues.
Yeah, I was talking to Dick Trzeski about Houston, and he said, yes, before he did that, he was a fine-looking prospect, but things change after that. But now getting second life here with Baltimore.
They're certainly looking for a steady second baseman. Really they have throughout the years with Rick and Detroit. Easy play for Whitaker. And one quick out. What is CJ doing so far, Jim?
I see movement on his pitches.
Yeah.
I see movement on his pitches and control. But you know, there's that fine line, Fred, from a pitcher. If they have good zip, good rotation, that good movement we talk about so much, you can sometimes not hit a certain spot, give up location if you have that good movement. And if you don't have that good movement and you can't hit that spot, that's when you get in trouble.
Jarvis Brown, the hitter, flying out to right field his first time up. 5 of the 7 outs so far have been on ground balls. Bunted to first. Clark with the out.
Well, you talk about the long and the short of it.
No kidding, Jeff, huh? Well, Tony Clark, of course, at 6'7", and Jarvis Brown at 5'7". So there's a difference of a foot there.
Yeah, now I like that play, but that's not going to work if you bunt it right to the first baseman. If he'd have bunted that over to his right, and as you know, Freddie, Tony's had some problems with that play between the communication between the pitcher and the first baseman, but didn't work that time for Brown.
Brady Anderson takes a strike from Nitkowski. CJ went to St. John's, as you undoubtedly know. Actually started his college baseball career at Florida Southern, but he got homesick and went back to New York.
Boy, that sounds familiar. Florida Southern, of course, located in Lakeland. That can make you homesick.
Yeah. You spent
all my buddies from Lakeland. I'm just kidding.
1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball high and away. 2 balls and a strike. Knuckle curve down low. 3 balls and a strike. There you see the knuckle curve grip. Holds that index finger with the fingernail. He went around.
There you go. Now that's one of the few pitches I've seen CJ get a little mad at himself and rear back and throw it. It's good for a pitcher to be that way once in a while. Get upset.
Bob Gibson was that way just a little bit.
He wasn't upset. He was nasty.
3 balls, 2 strikes.
That hit off the knob of the bat.
Yeah, it must have. First I thought it hit him, and then Roy Anderson stayed there. It was a foul ball. Still a full count. 2 down here in the Baltimore half of the 3rd inning. Got in inside on him again. This time a pop-up. And another 1-2-3 inning for C.J. Nitkowski. He has set down the last 8 Orioles. So really an encouraging performance so far for the young lefty. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. The Tigers hoping to add on to a 1-0 advantage.
Boy, he's absolutely right. 6-4-3, 4-6-3. Either way, it's 2. Thanks, Trammell Lou. All right, here's the old Tiger teaser. Named the only manager in history to lead 2 franchises in all-time wins. Well, I think we got that one, Freddie.
I've got that one nailed.
All right, as you know, we'll be back later in the telecast with the answer for you.
Top of the lineup to lead it off for the Tigers in the 3rd inning against Mike Mussina. It'll be Curtis Higginson and Fryman. Chad walked on 4 pitches his first time up. On right field line. Mark Smith rather has room and foul ground for the out. 1 down. I'd like to see Chad's average at least stay up 270 because he really has had a pretty darn good year.
And you know, he's been in a couple slumps this year, but he'll come back with a flurry. So he's kind of fighting a little bit right now, and maybe when we go on the road trip, he'll come back with a flurry, end up on a high note.
But for a leadoff guy, 21 homers, 65 RBIs, those are pretty darn good power numbers.
Oh, terrific power numbers. But what he has done in this outfield here, the biggest outfield or center field in all of baseball, he has really solidified things here defensively. And just think, if they did not have a good center fielder, they're in last place now. What would have happened? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the ERAs would be higher.
But the outfield has made a big difference with his ball club.
Higginson fouls it away. Well, if indeed this is the outfield of the future for the Tigers with Nevin in left, Curtis in center, and Higginson in right. Very solid defensively. Pretty good arms. Now the question is, will, at the corners, Higginson and Nevin be able to hit?
That is the question. That is the question. And you know, maybe they're platoon players. Who knows what Joe Klein has up his sleeve? There might be some other people that the Tigers are looking at. And
that's not to say that Danny Bautista or Todd Steverson won't become everyday players next year.
Absolutely.
And both of those guys could be very good defensive players, too.
They're both outstanding. In fact, Todd Steverson might be the best. But they need to play. I think probably next year you're going to see them at the AAA level playing every day and see what happens after that.
So 1-2 count to Higginson. Mussina goes away. I don't see him make many mistake pitches, Jim. Certainly when he's ahead of the count.
No, he's a workman type pitcher. He'll move the ball in and out with a thought on every pitch, and maybe 2 pitches ahead of time. I kid about pitchers missing several runs on the ladder, but let me tell you, you got to be smart to be a pitcher. If you're your own pitcher, if you rely on the catcher all the time, which he doesn't, he pitches his own game, you're pretty smart out there.
Two changeup is low. 3-2. In my mind, if you're talking about American League Cy Young, you've got this guy Mussina, Randy Johnson, Jose Mesa, and Tim Wakefield. Now, who of the 4 would you pick?
Yeah, well, you know, Ernie asked me that the other day, and I said, well, between Wakefield and Johnson. But the way it's looking right now would be Johnson, because he's undoubtedly done more for his ball club. What would they be without him as a pair of Wakefield with Boston or Mesa with Cleveland? You know, I think that's the right way to look at it.
The way to split hairs.
Yes.
You know, you look at Randy Johnson. He's ahead in so many categories now. Has a top ERA in the league. Top winning percentage. He's only lost 2. Leads the league in strikeouts. Leads the league in opponents' batting average. I mean, he's going to be tough to deny.
When we talk about stuff, he's at the head of the list. He has terrific stuff.
So Fryman the batter with 1 out and 1 on. Mussina now has issued 3 walks.
And the other thing he has going for him, he's wild enough. You know what I mean? When you get up there, you tippy-toe around that home plate area. You don't want to exactly dig in.
Well, that's why Seattle's so dangerous in the postseason.
Oh. And the way they hit. And the way they hit.
Off the end of the bat. Squibber for Tucson. Who flips it to Trammell for the out. Higginson now at second base. 2 down. Here's Cecil. Struck out his last time up. So he's now 2 for 12 in the series.
And we should be wishing him happy birthday.
That's right. He and John McHale Jr., Tiger president, celebrating a birthday today.
Happy birthday, Big John and Little Cecil. How's that?
A lifetime against the Oriole right-hander. Cecil has had some trouble, as have a lot of right-handers.
Yeah, that's right. Joining the club.
Getting 100. 3 for 30 against him. Has 1 home run against Mussina. Change up low. 2 balls and no strikes. And remember last time, 3 straight fastballs, high and away. Mussina was able to get the strikeout. Pretty gaudy numbers for Cecil in this decade, huh? 38 homers on average.
Not bad. Look at that. See, that's what we were talking about. Ball 2, no strikes. Change up.
Right down low in the strike zone, too, a perfect spot.
And Dad, I'm telling you, he had himself screwed in the ground looking for that number 1. Believe me. And rightly so. He's a power hitter. He needs to look at a certain pitch in a certain zone. That's why he hits all those home runs. He guesses right a lot of times.
Cecil guessed right there, didn't he?
No.
You know, we always talk about guessing, but there's a guy, you don't hit those home runs and drive-ins and runs without having smarts about you at the plate.
Well, you have a game plan, and you know what the pitcher's going to bring to the table. Here it is, a fastball moving in on him. Didn't get his hands out, but he was able to bring him in and still get the bat head on the ball, and just missed hitting the foul line down the left field line.
That would have been 2-0 Tigers. So it's a 2-2 count now to Cecil. 2 outs, and Higginson in scoring position. High and away. Cecil fights it into the seats.
Yeah, every hitter has a weakness. Cecil's weakness is up about chest high. Good stuff, but it's got to be good stuff. Mussina has the good stuff, and as you mentioned, he did strike him out earlier on the high fastball his first time up. But if you go to somebody's weakness, that doesn't mean they can't hit it. It means if you've got good stuff, you can get it by, but it better be in that spot.
He struck him out on the last time up. High heat. That's the 4th strikeout for Mussina. And after 3 completed the corner, we're a third of the way through. Tigers lead it 1-0. Don't forget Live on Pass coming your way each and every Monday through Friday.
Live on Pass, and Steve Garagiola and Fred, what's his name?
Fred Kaline.
Fred Kaline is your host with the most. And basketball, Freddie, is just about close, right? When do the boys start?
We've got 3 exhibition games next month.
Wow.
In fact, they open camp on October 6th.
What'd you think of that Otis Thorpe situation?
I think it helps him.
Okay.
You know, he's 33 years old, but he adds some definite toughness, which the team
Needed a little bit of that.
Sorely needed. Still a few pieces away from the puzzle, but I think Collins will make a positive impact.
Yeah, I agree with you.
No question who's boss. That's for sure.
Is that right?
Oh. I want to tell you. There are certainly other people in the organization that will assist him, but the players, when he says something, they'll know there's no one else to go to.
I did not know that. Oh, okay.
Now, Rick's son is the director of player personnel, but Doug brought him in. So it is the Collins show, to be sure. Cal Ripken looks at a breaking ball inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. C.J. Nitkowski in his 4th inning. I mentioned has retired the last 8 Orioles. Good pitch there, just missed. 2 balls and a strike on that changeup. Had some heat on it. Missed it inside. 3-1. I think he's got a better fastball today.
He does, but I'm seeing a little more aggressiveness in his personal makeup on the mound, which sometimes will give you a better fastball.
That's right. He's throwing strikes. High, lazy fly ball to center field. Chad Curtis squeezes it for the first out. You know, Tom Gage wrote, I think earlier this week in the Detroit News, he felt that maybe now's the time just to, after the, I think it was after the Texas outing, which CJ didn't last very long, maybe now just don't even pitch him anymore. He's pitched him enough. Don't worry about his confidence being damaged anymore. But Sparky has him back out here today.
Well, you know what, Tom makes sense. I did not read that, but that's going through my mind, you know, how much you want a youngster to go out there and take a beating if he is tired and so forth. But
Hits it high, deep to center field out by the flagpole. Curtis there, gets there for the out. Ball hung up at the end, but I mean, he hit it about 430 feet.
Tell you, thank goodness the wind is blowing in, because I have a feeling that might have been out past the flagpole into the old bullpen area, because he really hit it hard, and as strong as he is, he can hit it out of any ballpark. But Chad Curtis, two different plays. Had to come in for that one pop-up, then he had to go back for the other one, about as far as you can go.
So just a routine 8 on the scorecard.
2 outs, right?
That's right. Nothing to it.
No, Tom, there was some merit in what Tom wrote about. No doubt about that.
Kowski feeds Palmeiro a strike.
See the home run he hit yesterday? Crushed it, baby.
How about the one on Monday night?
Oh,
Felipe. That was
Anderson. Brady hit one just over the fence in right field, and then Palmeiro came up, and I mean tattooed it. You don't see many in that bleacher area in right center field, upper deck. You don't see many of them.
waves at that one.
See, I even see it in his windup, in his motion. He's a little more aggressive with the things he's doing, not just flipping the ball up there.
Another good breaking ball. Steve right 3. Another fine inning for C.J. Nitkowski. Yeah, Bonilla nearly hit it to Hamtramck, but it was an out.
All part of the game.
And another 1-2-3 inning for the rookie left-hander. His first strikeout, and after 3.5, Tigers still cling to that 1-run lead. Well, we talked about Live on Pass, of course. Our signature show here. Warm ovation. Not quite as long as the first one, but certainly good enough. Fastball, strike 1. Lou walked in the first inning. That right on
you got it square. When you get them square,
bang.
The thing that jars is your face. It goes right back, you know. Off to the side, you know, there's a kind of a glancing blow, but that kind of rocks you back a little bit.
How about your fillings?
Oh, hey, all catchers, believe me, have had to have. If they ever take another, you're all right square in the old Masqueritas. All catchers have had to have some fillings put in or have had chipped teeth fixed, believe me.
But Terry Kraft acted like didn't hurt him.
Yeah, right.
Didn't bother him at all. Change up away.
Believe me, his ears are still ringing.
Oh, I'm sure.
He says he just asked Hoyle if that phone was for him.
Yeah. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Yeah, he'd rather have caller ID.
That's right.
Fouls it off upstairs. Still 1-2. Now, when you talk about Hall of Fame consideration for this guy, pretty good numbers.
You know, the thing that you hear most about Whitaker and Trammell when that question is asked around Major League Baseball is they didn't play the last 3 years. They didn't play on a regular basis. That's the thing. That's not what I say.
Right.
That's the thing you hear that certain people might look at. You know, of course, I don't look at that, but that's the thing that you hear.
And let's face it, the baseball writers are the ones who vote. And the Messina registers his 5th strikeout.
I mean, why don't you look at the first 16 years? You know?
To me, I think it's strong consideration when you put Lou's numbers against the second baseman of the history of this game, and same with Tram with his numbers compared to other shortstops. I mean, he's in the top 10 in fielding percentage all time. Okay, he's number 8, if I'm not mistaken, all time in fielding percentage at shortstop. So we shall see. Curveball into the dirt, ball 1. And of course, in Tiger history, he's way up there in so many categories.
Boy, there you go. Start him off with a breaking ball. And as a hitter, when the first breaking ball isn't over, you say, oh, he's got to catch up to me and come in with a fastball. What's he do? The old change.
Two hops to Ripken. Cal was saying the other day, he is really envious of Tram and Lou and the fact that there were 2 of them.
Yes.
That came up, which I thought was pretty interesting coming from a guy who's just recently set such a cherished record.
Well, anytime an organization can come up with one great ball player 1 year, you got to be thrilled to death. To come up with 2 great ball players at a time, it just doesn't happen.
Well, that's why this franchise won the championship in '84 with Morris, Petrie, and Parrish.
Oh, Morris, great pitcher.
Is Jack Hall of Fame material?
I think he's going to be looked at, absolutely.
Very strongly. Simple 1-3 for Messina. And a 1-2-3 inning. Second time he has achieved that this afternoon. After 4 complete, the Tigers, though, still 1 run better than the Orioles.
Kendall Oil. Pour in the protection of Kendall Motor Oil today. Boy, what a job CJ has done. This has turned out to be an old-fashioned pitcher's duel so far, but this is the young man that you gotta take him inning by inning and just hope that this can continue. It would be a real plus if he could get himself together and continue in this ball game, and then come back with a couple other starts and go into spring training next year, Freddie, with all that confidence.
It's the best stretch of baseball he's had as a Tiger pitcher. He's set down 10 in a row. Facing Chris Hoyles here to lead off the 5th inning. CJ went 6 innings at Milwaukee back in the middle of August. He gave up 3 hits. Hoyles high fly ball to left field. Nevin ranging near the track. Out number 1. But 6 innings is the longest that Witkowski has gone as a Tiger. Got 2 other 5-inning stints, including one that he picked up his lone victory at Minnesota at the beginning of this month. Harold Baines, who's been torrid in this series, stands in 0 for 1, but he is still 7 for 11 in this series.
And the DH spot was made for Mr. Baines. He is quite a hitter.
Show no signs of slowing down, is he?
Now he could hit anytime, anywhere.
Numbers career-wise against the Tigers. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He's 36 years of age, so he still has some miles left. But showing this season hitting .292. Still a productive hitter. But if the American League ever does away with the DH, that would virtually end his career.
Well, I'm sure if they do, it'll take a few years to do it. They would phase it out. I hope they do. I like it the other way.
I agree.
The real way.
Real baseball. Broken back grounder to second base. Witkowski will cover in plenty of time to get Baines, who does not run very well.
Fred, that's another good sign that catchers gauge on how well a pitcher's throwing and how their movement is. I think he's broken three bats today.
Yes, he has.
At $28 a piece. Here it is. Watch the ball move in on his hands right there. And that breaks the lumber. He hit it just below the trademark, and that's the end of that bat.
Mike Christopher is listening in the Tiger bullpen. sure the game plan was for C.J. to go 5 or 6. He just continues to sail along.
Well, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I know what Sparky's thinking. If he gets out of this inning, get him out. You know what I mean? Don't take a chance on that other inning. That's not bad thinking.
And Sparky has always done that with his young pitchers, particularly this year.
See, now, I'm sorry, Freddie. I was just going to say, the last game he pitched, when he'd throw the curveball, he would just say, oh, it's a curveball sign, and he'd flip it up there. There he had some snap on it. You even see it in his motion and his follow-through.
And, you know, what I've noticed, too, on his fastballs, he's got a loose wrist, which promotes that movement. And I think he's got that ability, that natural ability to have that.
Well, that's one of the things we said early on. We don't recall many left-handed pitchers not having movement on their ball, and he has not had that until today.
Breaking ball down, and I bet you if you asked C.J. what was the difference, he'd probably say, I don't know. Although maybe he's had a conscious effort today to be more aggressive and to really go at the hitters.
Well, it is shown.
But he has not walked anybody, which may be his most impressive stat of them all. This with a breaking ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 are down. Tigers will be in the thick of that pennant race this weekend at the big ballpark in New York, as the Yankees, of course, for their sights at Seattle and California right now for that wild card spot.
Yeah, and isn't it interesting that the Yankees are not drawing very well?
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, it's there are some problems in that area, you know, where the ballpark is. In fact, there are no cabs. You can't get a cab after the ball game. They won't go there. We all huddle up on one bus, and usually ball players are going all different directions, but we kind of stay in groups and get on the bus and go back to the hotel.
Continues to be a lot of talk about building a new ballpark on the other side of the river, over by the Meadowlands complex. And I would think that something like that will come to fruition eventually. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Mark Smith.
Of course, at $50 million plus from their local television, that they get off to a good start.
That's for sure.
Numbers-wise, before the season starts.
On deck is Jeff Houston. Wrapped to Fryman. Holds up, and it's a base hit. So a Baltimore chop base hit in Detroit for the Orioles.
Well, this is a play a third baseman has to make a split-second decision. Should he charge it? Now watch, it's a high hopper. He chose to stay back and get it on that hop instead of come in full speed, which you've seen Travis do before. But not much he could do with that play because Smith is an outfielder and has fine speed.
So that ends the streak of 13 successive Orioles set down by Nitkowski. Foul back, 1 strike. Houston, the hitter, grounded to Whitaker's first time up. Earlier in the season, we saw Manny Alexander play second base, but it was a muscle pull, so he hasn't played much this month. There goes the runner. Flaherty holds up, and a stolen base for Smith. So Smith three for 3 in that department as a major leaguer now. So the Orioles with their first runner in scoring position since the opening inning when they threatened. A fly ball up center field. Curtis had him played that way. Now Nevin calls him off for the inning. So still a very good inning for the Tiger left-hander, as he has shut out Baltimore now for 5 innings. And the Tigers will try to get some runs here in the bottom half of the inning with Nevin, Flaherty, and Curtis to face Mike Mussina.
All right, let's take a look at the very short scoring summary. And here it is. Travis Fryman with a fielder's choice. That scored the lone Tiger run, in fact, the lone run of the ball game. 1-0, Tigers lead. And our Jason Hillman had a chance to talk to Sparky Anderson about Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker.
Two of the most intelligent have been Trammell and Lou. Maybe it's their last game, maybe not, we don't know. But will this be something you will always treasure, being a part of their careers?
Yes, 17 years, two young kids that started out that turned it into a marvelous career, a career that they'll never have to look back and not be ashamed of one moment of their career. Their statistics will prove how great they really were. I don't think they'll be appreciated until after they're done. And then people will realize that when they don't see them no more, just how great these two players were.
And a lot of the fans feel the same way, Skipper.
You know, we asked Sparky before the game if he even collects mementos. You know, might he get a bat with Trammell Lou's autographs? Nope. What about a shirt or a baseball? Yeah. The only thing he has at his home, and in fact he's got them locked away, are World Series autograph balls.
Yes, he does.
And he's got 23 photo albums, but he says that's it. He's just not a collector.
He could have quite a collection. You think about it, Al Kaline and I were talking about that the other day about when we played, you know, we never even kept things like that. I have my one shirt from the World Series that somebody gave me, but you didn't think in those terms in those days. Boy, now everything the players wear are valuable. They throw away a wristband, it's like I found $100 or something, you know.
But even not so much for its value, just its sentimental value, I guess.
Yeah, well, we're talking about Lou and Tram for sure.
But it depends on the individual, like you say. Bill Nevin, a hitter. 2 strikes.
Well, Fred, 4 hits in this ball game, 3 by Baltimore and 1 by the Tigers.
That was a Bobby Higginson first inning half swing single to right center field.
That's right. And you think about Baltimore's hits, the chopper to Travis, a blooper, and a ground ball.
You've seen his fastball rising, resulting in the short pop-up behind first base. Houston is there for the out. So 1 batter, 1 down in the 5th inning. Lucina certainly has settled down. He has struck out 5 and walked 3 so far. Giving up the 1 hit, and then he'll bring up the number 9 man, John Flaherty.
There he is, Phil Regan.
The Vulture.
The Vulture from Michigan. He and Steve Boris, both out of the state of Michigan. A lot of great family friends here and longtime acquaintances.
Of course, so well known in West Michigan. 10 years at Grand Valley State.
Well, I'm rooting for him. I hope he's still wearing that uniform next year.
Well, you got to give a guy more than 1 year chance, I would think.
You would think, but in this day and age with high payrolls and a lot of expectations.
Well, they certainly had him in.
Baseball, it's just a game as simple as a ball and bat, and yet as complex as the American spirit it symbolizes. It's a sport, a business, and sometimes almost even religion. This is a game for all America, this baseball, a game for boys and girls, for the young and old, and for the young at heart.
Ernie Harwell on baseball, Sunday night on Passport, the source for Michigan sports.
All right, here's the answer, the old Tiger Tiz. But first the question, name the only manager in history to lead 2 franchises and all-time wins. Well, you got the answer. And here it is, Sparky Anderson, Reds and the Tigers. Probably the easiest one we've had all year. Okay, for the Tigers, big Mike Christopher will take over. He last pitched on Monday. He pitched 1 scoreless inning. Mike with a fastball, breaking ball, split finger, and a changeup. He's 3-0 on the year with a 4 ERA. He has 1 save. But Mike's the type of pitcher that goes after the hitters. He does not walk many. He challenges them. What you see that day is what he has. and he doesn't mess around. He goes right after him.
Well, how about over his last 7 outings, going back to the Cleveland game at the beginning of this month, in which he was hammered? Christopher has worked 13 2/3 innings and an ERA of 0.65. He's only given up 1 earned run and only 7 base hits over those 7 appearances.
He has been a real find for the Tigers. Well, let's talk about CJ. All right.
Curtis Goodwin, a pinch hitter for the Orioles, who will start the 6th inning, takes a strike. Yeah, how about Ditkowski? And I like what Sparky's doing here, getting him out of here. Great taste in his mouth with 5 solid innings, 3 base hits, no runs, no walks, which I think is the most impressive number of all for the rookie lefty, and 1 strikeout.
And at least 3 broken bats. Remember how I gauge things. A little differently, but that's called movement on the ball. He jammed all 3 of those hitters when he broke their bats.
Goodwin slaps it up the middle, one-handed with a base hit. So a pretty good piece of hitting by Goodwin. He'll take over for Jarvis Brown in center field.
A couple happy fellas in the Tiger dugout over what CJ did this afternoon.
So it's the 4th Baltimore hit, and that'll bring up Brady Anderson, who had one himself in the 1st inning. So it's Ditkowski's game to win if the Tiger bullpen could save it for him.
This is always a tough act to follow, Fred. I always would dread to be a reliever. You come in and relieve somebody that's just done an outstanding job, especially at home in front of the home folks. You got to feel that pressure.
And in Mike Christopher's case, he really wants to come up with at least a hole if he can for Ditkowski, who pitched so well. Like Mike had the lone save earlier this month at Minnesota when he went 4 innings. Well, maybe he can do it again here. 2-0 the count. Now 1-2, or 2-1 rather. Ripken and Bonilla will follow. Tigers trying to earn a series split with the Birds, and of course they'll finish the season series over at Camden Yards next weekend. Three and 1. Now Jr. up next. Tony Clark says he'll play baseball somewhere this winter, whether it's the instructional league or perhaps some winter ball. He knows he's going to be working hard, taking a lot of batting practice in the offseason. There goes Goodwin, who has great wheels.
Well, he needs to play. Just send him out there and play. I played winter ball 2 years, and I played 1 year instructional league ball in Arizona. And I'll tell you, those extra 30, 40 games do wonders for you. They really do. And you can work on things and work on your weaknesses.
With no pressure.
With no pressure. It really does help. You know, you go out in the morning, you work, you might hit a 200-300 balls off the pitching machine. You might block 50 balls in the dirt. Of course, he won't have to do that. He's too smart to be a catcher. So
there goes Goodwin again. Anderson slaps it down the left field line. Foul again.
But you youngsters, you work on your weaknesses. Yes, you want to stay sharp on things you do well, but you work on your weaknesses all the time so you can become better in those areas.
Well, don't forget, Tony Clark didn't play his first full professional season of baseball until last year. So at age 23, still really a professional neophyte, so to speak, in terms of actual experience. He just has too much talent not to be able to
great potential.
Succeed.
Great. I've seen him hit some balls. Again, I'm not a great believer in hitting balls 9 miles of batting practice, but it does open your eyes certain times. I've seen him hit some balls Tiger Stadium where only Cecil has hit them.
Well, he's got power in every part of the ballpark, too. Good one again going. Ball slapped right at Trammell. This will be an easy double play. Oh, he didn't need Lou to help him on it. But it gives the crowd reason to get to its feet. And again, pay tribute to Tram. I'm still hoping for a 4.63 or 6.43 today before we're done.
Well, Anderson hit a bullet, but it's not how hard you hit him, but where you hit him. Just off the shoe tops by Tram. Instead of taking a chance of throwing it to first, he just wisely goes over and tags Goodwin at second base for a double play. Unassisted, I might add.
Slider from Christopher away to Ripken. Al is 1 for 2 today, his first hit of this series. Because of all the things that have come out of this momentous month for him, it's the attention that his family has received. He says he really enjoyed it. And how proud Cal Sr. must be with his son literally growing up in the sport of baseball. He was a minor league manager.
So you're watching Cal Ripken the last couple of years. He doesn't particularly change his stance, but he changes how he holds his bat in the hitting position. Now he's going more to a thing he used to do years ago, and that's point the back towards the behind home plate. You see him doing it right there. Earlier, the last series, he was holding it up over his shoulder.
Right. I assume you and Ernie talked about it yesterday, but you know, how about Ripken after Tuesday's game, coming out an hour after the game, hitting what?
Right.
10 dozen of balls off the tee.
Absolutely.
Popped up. Flaherty has room near the on-deck circle. And Mike Christopher, with the help of a double play, has another 1, 2, 3 inning. So Tiger pitching continuing to do the job. C.J. Nitkowski in the clubhouse saying, come on, guys, give me 3 more. And I'll take that second Major League victory. Devin, Flaherty, and Curtis. The Tiger hitters due up against Mussina in the 6th.
All right, let's take another look back at a great moment, this time by Lou Whitaker. The last inside the park home run hit by a Tiger, July 15th, 1991 against Texas.
I think the umpire called him out, but he was safe. Whitaker hits it to right center field. Gonzalez on the run, going back, still going. It is off the wall. That ball's got to be caught. Whitaker heads to third base, and he's going to be waved home. Here comes the relay. He is in safe. An inside the park home run for Lou Whitaker.
And Fred, they say the most exciting play in baseball is a triple. I disagree.
I think inside the park, you and I think alike. Absolutely.
Where are you, Lou? There's Tram. Oh, Lou must have had to go in and take care of business. I'm sure he'll be back.
He wanted a copy of that tape inside the park room. He's probably out at the truck.
Tram and Lou, simply the best, no doubt about it. Tiger fans are the best also.
And our thanks to our producer director Jim Holly for sifting through all the hours of tape, giving us some of the I love old tape, old plays. And we're not talking about that long ago, 4 years, but
yeah,
you know, going back to Tram's homer in '88, those are fun to relive.
They sure are, and Jim Holly has just done a great job. And you know, while we have a chance, I want to mention this is our last telecast this year at home, and I want to thank all our great folks behind the scenes, not only here at the ballpark, but back at our headquarters, WDIV, with Pass. It's just been terrific working with everybody, as always.
I echo those sentiments as well. Sometimes in baseball, boy, you got to spend a few hours at the ball yard.
Oh, boy, I tell you, nobody knows how hard everybody works.
Bobby Higgins to the batter, waving it.
And meanwhile, Mr. Mussina keeps throwing it by everybody out here.
Mussina with only 68 pitches through his first 5 innings. So that tells you he has been around the strike zone. In spite of the 3 walks. Change up away.
He's such a classic pitcher to watch, how he works hitters. He's the type of guy you'd love to catch because he's really pitching his own game. We take a look at John Doherty, a man from the Bronx, loosening up.
Higginson overmatched there. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And he has an idea on every pitch he throws, it seems like.
It's a battle of a couple of eastern Pennsylvanians here with Mussina and Higginson. Mussina chose to go to Stanford.
Not a bad choice.
And Higginson stayed home at Temple. That Stanford program over the last decade has been
terrific. And what a great
amount of major league talent.
The sunken field, their baseball field, right next to the beautiful football stadium. But Bobby this year is going to work out. He says he's going to add some muscle, and he has this lead-weighted bat. Reminds me when I was in high school, we had one of the guys, the grounds crew, put lead in the end of it, and it's a regular bat, and he's going to swing that a lot during the off-season, besides workout.
Try to groove that level swing. There you saw the uppercut swing there that we talked about that Al Kaline has mentioned. And the strikeout. 6th registered by Mussina.
Well, here it is. Take a look where the pitch is. Upstairs, and look at the uppercut. We're not saying having an uppercut swing is bad, but if you're having some problems, you need to make some adjustments. And Bobby's having some problems, and if he could level that out a little bit, I'm sure it would help him.
Travis Strymon looks at a curveball for a strike.
You know, Ted Williams, first fellow I ever heard talk about that, reading his book and watching his tapes, because the mound was so high, he felt that you had to swing up on the ball because the pitcher had that leverage throwing down at you. But that's no longer the case. The mounds are lower, even though they're talking about taking them back next year. But I question some of the things they've talked about because they also talked about speeding the game up. And outside of the first week, I haven't seen any of that. No.
That's the problem with baseball. Slow to come up with change, and then when they do, sometimes it's not always implemented.
Yeah, I'm not sure they have stayed with the things they have talked about, and I haven't looked at how long the games have been, but I don't think they've speeded up all that much.
Negligible at best. 2 balls and a strike. I hope they raise the mound a little bit. Widen that doggone strike zone. Or not widen it so much, but raise it back where it should be. We'll see. Travis hits it pretty hard to center field, but off the end of the bat. Here comes Goodwin to make the play. So 2 are down as Mussina continues to plow through this Tiger lineup. He's set down 10 in a row. Nitkowski had a 13-man streak. It was finally ended on an infield hit. And Cecil stands in. Twice a strikeout victim. Curveball hangs high. And the guessing game will continue here between pitcher and hitter. Cecil guessed right on a pitch his last time up, but just blitzed it foul. Fastball away, 2-0. We're in the 6th. Tigers with a lone tally, which came in the first inning. Off a Fryman fielder's choice, set up by a walk and a Higginson base hit. They've only had 5 hits combined. Cecil couldn't hold up.
See, that's gearing up for that one pitch. Cecil was ahead in the count. He says, hey, I know he's going to challenge me with the fastball. It looks like a fastball. Then it goes away from him, unable to hold up. If he got a hold of that one, he might have hit it on the roof.
One curveball. From that view, you can see Mussina's right index finger. Really a fingernail digging into the ball. That's his knuckle curve. Very good ball-strike ratio. Another curveball. That's Cecil on the strike. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Sweet Lou on deck. And the walk. So So the fourth free pass issued by Mussina this afternoon.
Well, that was an interesting ball four taken by Cecil. I'm not sure he's even going to swing the way he approached that pitch. I know he doesn't stride a lot of times with 2 strikes on him, but he didn't approach that like he was even going to offer at it.
Lou cascading through this old ballpark. As Whitaker digs in for the 3rd time, he's 0 for 1. Struck out his last time up. 2 outs, a man aboard. Palmeiro playing behind fielder.
Comes back and starts him out with a changeup.
Yeah, Mussina just didn't hang around long enough his last time here at Tiger Stadium, going an inning plus, so we didn't get to see much of a pitching pattern at all. Luke fights it off upstairs.
Well, that's where he's had success against a lot of the Tiger hitters. He'll show him something off speed. He'll get him leaning over a little bit, looking for something like that, and he'll come and bust him inside.
I don't see many pitchers in the big leagues, though, do his
wind-up.
Dip of the shoulder
right.
in almost a wind-up and a stretch. High and away. I wonder why.
Yeah, do that 100 times a day. That's like a sit-up. He's a hard belly.
Working on those abs, huh?
I might try that.
Two balls, 2 strikes. That'd be impressive if you came into the booth next year with a washboard stomach.
Well, you know what? It's going to happen.
Is it?
Oh, yeah, this winter. It's I'll be working out in the weight room all winter, you know, over my lunch hour down here, and you'll see a new Jim Price next year.
I'm going to hold you to it.
You got it, Freddie. You got a deal. I'm going to stay about 6'1", but I'm going to lose about 30 pounds.
All right, I'm going to keep you around for a long time.
Okay, my man.
Strike 3. Whitaker goes down on the strikeout for the 2nd time in a row. So Mussina has gotten Fielder and Whitaker twice each. He now has 7 for the game. John Doherty will take over the pitching chores for Sparky as we head to the 7th.
Lou and Trammell in that familiar spot. John Doherty will take over the pitching duties for the Tigers. He pitched 1 scoreless inning on Monday. He's now 5-8, and look at the ERA. It has really come down. 4.84, 5 saves now for him. 109 and 2/3 innings, 124 hits, 59 earned runs, 37 walks, and 44 strikeouts, Fred. But the reason I said what I did is he has really done a good job coming out of the bullpen for Detroit.
Yeah, you take away his 2 early starts, and he's been in the bullpen since. His ERA for the season is 3.98.
Yes, and that is very good.
Sparky says, now again, this is, you know, you wonder if you get qualified a little bit, but Sparky says he thinks he's the best long relief man in the American League right now.
Well, he has certainly done. I don't know. I don't know about that, but he certainly has done a terrific job. And we talk so much about his good fastball, his good, not so much a sinker, but the way it tails away from a left-hander and into a right-hander, and looking to come up with that other pitch. And with that good fastball, he could be a force really for the organization.
Good sinker there. Whitaker ranging, setting, throws. I thought the throw would beat him. So do the other umpires in the ballpark. Gary Cedarstrom, though, is the one that counts. And he rolled a base hit. I think Lou thought he got him, too.
How many times have we seen this play? But watch this effort by Lou Whitaker going to his right. Turn around and throws so accurately. And Bonilla just able to beat it out at first base.
That was a bang-bang play.
Yeah, take another look at it. He just got in there.
Yes, he did. Good call by Gary Cederstrom. Fifth base hit for Baltimore, so Bonilla's aboard. Palmero wraps it past the glove of Tony Clark. Bonilla will hustle over to third. First and third. Nobody down for the Birds. So John Doherty now has his work cut out with a tying run at third. Jamie Moyer is now working in the Baltimore bullpen. Tiger bullpen is quiet as Chris Hoyle stands in. He'll be followed by Baines. Doherty misses with a fastball, ball one. We're in the seventh. Tigers still leading, but it's a precarious advantage right now at best at 1-0.
And this is a case where Hoyles knows what he's going to get. He's going to get that good fastball from Doherty, but can he catch up with it? Can he get the bat head out in front to do something with it?
Hits it hard, base hit. That'll tie the ball game. So Doherty comes on and gives up 3 straight base hits. 1 an infield single, and then 2 sharply hit balls. And we have a tie ball game. So the RBI to the former EMU Huron.
Well, here's the fastball. This time it hung upstairs about belt high, and Hoyles got a hold of it, drilled it past Travis in the left field for an RBI single and tie up this ball game.
Runners now at first and second, and here's trouble with Harold Baines. And quiet so far against the left-hander Nitkowski 0 for 2. But keep in mind he has 7 hits in this series so far. It's a high, hard to right center field. That's hit a monster shot off the track and into the seats for a ground rule double. A 435-foot double that'll score 1 run. Hoyles will go back to third, and the Orioles lead it 2-1.
Baby, did he get all of that or what? Into the wind. 1 hop over that high fence and dead straight center field.
So John Doherty has not exactly fooled him the last 3 hitters.
Yeah, you're not kidding. The Tigers got to get some time here to get somebody warmed up. Another pitch that's upstairs. John Doherty cannot pitch upstairs. Here it is. Baines hits it a mile, and I mean a mile. Watch Chad Curtis. He runs out of room, and watch it bounce over the fence right there. A break for the Tigers, because that would have been Hoyles would have scored also on the play, but because of the ground rule double, Hoyles will have to go back to third base.
Mike Myers now loosening quickly in the Tiger bullpen. So Baines comes up with his 8th base hit of the series. He's 8 for 13. Not a bad week here, huh?
Boy.
And still nobody down. Baltimore with a 2-1 lead with 2 more runners in scoring position. I'll bring up Mark Smith. Fastball on the inside corner for a strike. Hoyles at third, and Baines the runner at second base. Broken bat. Easy play for Clark. 1 down. So unfortunately for C.J. Nitkowski, it's a no decision to this. But it does not at all detract from the performance that he gave Sparky as a starter. Here comes Sparky. He's going to bring in the left-hander Myers. And Houston will undoubtedly be pinch hit for him. So a tough one for Doherty today. He had really been doing a fine job on a pretty consistent basis. But in this series, in 5 1/3 innings, he has coughed up 5 runs.
All right, want to remind everybody that Michigan and Michigan State football is now on Pass Sports. Well, John Doherty treated right rudely here in his outing. Now to be Mike Myers. He picked up his first Major League victory on Tuesday with a fine 1 scoreless inning performance. This will be his 6th outing for the Tigers. See, he's only gone 2 2/3, 7 hits, 5 runs, 2 walks, and 1 strikeout. But his last couple outings, he has dropped down a little bit and has got more movement on his pitches. And it even looks like he has a little more zip on his pitches instead of coming over the top like he did his previous couple times out for Detroit.
That just depends on the pitcher. Some guys throw harder over the top, others.
Yeah, well, we talk about that. You know, in Major League Baseball, if you're a left-handed pitcher, and a lot of times you're brought in to get one left-handed hitter out, and my goodness, drop down there, try something different. If you're not getting somebody out, try it like a hitter. You got to move around the box. Same way with the pitcher, and it looks like Mike did try something different. It worked for him the last couple times out.
Well, Houston will hit for himself. He'd walk back to the dugout with that, well, I guess I'm going to be pinch hit for look.
He maybe was hoping that.
He'll stay in there against the left-hander. Houston is 0 for 2 today. Ground ball and a fly out. Here's the situation now with Hoyles at third and Baines at second and the Tiger infield in. Myers facing Houston. Tigers want to cut off that insurance tally for Baltimore. Strike for Myers. Mike, of course, came over from the Florida Marlins in the Buddy Groom deal. And you see the Tiger infield. In tight all the way around. Whoa, that hit him. Breaking ball just got away from him. Could be what you're talking about, Jim, where he's dropped down a little bit and finding that release point.
Well, here it is, the breaking ball that slips out of his hand. See how he dropped down there? He hung it up and got him on the back of the arm or the back of the slat. So bases loaded now with 1 down and a speedy one up, Fred.
And Curtis Goodwin. He came out on the 6th inning as a pinch hitter for Jarvis Brown and singled. Myers will throw primarily sliders as his breaking pitch, but to left-handers he will throw a curveball, which we saw there, and it just hung, hitting Houston. So the bases are loaded. Now the Tigers with a force play at the plate, or perhaps they can get a twin killing up the middle. One ball, one strike. Again, it's Hoyles at third. Baines, the base runner at second, his mammoth double. And Houston now the base runner at first. Ryan Maxey loosening in the bullpen. He would be the 5th Tiger pitcher if he comes on. Myers dropping down. Good backhanded stab by Flaherty. 2 balls and a strike. Brady Anderson on deck, the left-handed hitter.
Interesting. Third base coach Steve Boris walked down about 10 feet, flashing all kind of signs to the batter. Chris Hoyle's not paying attention, so apparently they have a voice sign with the runner on third if there's anything on.
Myers, good pitch on the inside portion of the plate. Flaherty for the out. He really jammed him. So Myers coming on to do his job in spite of the hit batsman.
Well, he showed that movement on his pitches now that he did not have his other outings, and against left-handed hitters, that is tough. Well, he hasn't done anything unless he gets Anderson out.
That's exactly right. Must get these lefties out. So 2 outs. We're in the 7th. Baltimore has already shoved across a couple of runs. They're out hitting the Tigers 8-1 this afternoon. As Anderson stands in, he's 1 for 3. Myers a curveball for a strike. Took something off that one. And had Anderson on his heel.
This will be a pick-me-up for the Tigers if he can get out of this jam with only 2 runs on the board. Then you'll look back at that break of the ball bouncing over the fence, and instead of getting another run, they only come up with 2.
Yeah, the Orioles had 2nd and 3rd and nobody out in this inning. Flaherty now out to chat with Myers.
I'm always glad to see that in this situation because you have to work together, be together. The one thing you don't want is a wild pitch or a pass ball. You want to really know what you're doing because, as I said, unless he gets Anderson out, you really haven't done anything. You have 2 outs. You need to get this guy.
You could read Myers' lips there saying fastball. Whether that means he's going to throw it or not is the question.
Oh, those crafty pitchers.
If you ask them their name, they say fastball. The 1-1 pitch. Myers missing with a heater away. 2-1. Now he's got to be careful. Can't give in to the hitter, but he also doesn't want to fall behind 3-1. And that's exactly where he is now. One wide one away from forcing in a run. Ripken is on deck. The 3-1 pitch. Right to perfect spot in the outside corner.
You couldn't have painted any better, low and away like that. That's what Anderson's saying too.
Brady and Sparky.
Oh, right, true. Not Phil.
So the runners will be moving now with a 3-2 count, 2 down. Myers needs it strike. He holds up.
I tell you, that was not a bad move there.
Foul back. Boy, as a pitcher, you hate that, don't you? With bases loaded, 3-2, and you're just trying to make sure you throw a good strike. And
I'll tell you who really hates it, the runner at third. Because you're just saying, oh, if he's going to slice one down in my chops, man, it's all over. So you kind of tippy-toe out around the grass, you know, praying the ball doesn't come that way. Chris Hoyle's third. Oh, if a Cecil would be up, you know, you wouldn't even start down the line. You go behind the third base coach.
Yeah, he's hugging Steve Boros over there. He's way over.
Right.
Again, fouled back. It's always a homecoming when the Orioles come in with Steve Boros from the third base coaching box on a flip.
Yeah, another terrific guy. Good for baseball. Fellows like Boros and Phil Regan. Good ambassadors.
Maxey still loosening in the Tiger bullpen. Myers has thrown 2 successive strikes on 3-2. Does it again, and another foul ball. So Anderson hanging tough with the bags juiced here. Again gets the sign, and the 3-2 pitch. Up the middle, Whitaker flags it down, but won't be able to make a play. A base hit, and the Orioles take a 3-1 lead as Hoyles crosses the plate. That'll be the 9th Baltimore base hit.
Ball was hit sharply back through the middle. Another good pitch from Myers, but Anderson got good wood on it, and Lou did a good job just to get over there and knock it down. If he comes up with it, he would be able to get the runner, I'm sure, at second base. But ball not sticking in his glove. Another run for the Birds. And another move by Sparky as Brian Maxey will come in to pitch to Cal Ripken Jr. with the bases still jammed. Maxey, sinker slider ball pitcher out of the University of Mississippi. Boy, it's hard to believe this would be his 37th appearance for the Tigers. He last pitched on Monday, only went 2/3 of an inning, gave up 1 hit, 1 run, didn't walk anybody or strike out anybody. This is, you remember, his second stint with the Tigers. So the sinker baller, Brian Maxey, with a 4-5 record, 6.44 ERA. 50 1/3 innings, 54 hits, 36 earned runs. He's walked 26 and struck out 19. Now that's the category. If you say to me, where does Brian have to improve? Right there. That's too many walks for a reliever. He has good stuff. He is a little bit like John Doherty. You would like to see him. This is a legitimate sinker ball. John, as I said, is a little bit of a sinker, but it bores in more on right-hand hitters. Brian Maxey's a legitimate sinker baller. And again, we talk about having more pitches in your arsenal. Look at the Birds. Are they after Paws? Hey, Paws needs help. Are they going to light his tail down there?
Uh-oh.
Oh, they're going to tape him up.
Paws is in trouble.
Our guy Paws. Oh, what'd they do to his tail? Oh, Paws, our guy. But back to Maxey. Sorry, Paws. But he's the type of guy you'd like to see get another pitch in his arsenal also. Now, he also has been flirting with a bigger breaking ball and so forth, but it's difficult to do that during the season. It's like a golfer on the golf course. Their game going haywire, and you start working on something, and you expect to be able to put it together while you're playing. So, again, Brian Maxey hopefully will come up with something else for his arsenal for next year because he has a good fastball.
Where do you think he stands going into training camp?
Oh, I think he's one of the guys.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, I like him. I don't know what that means, but you'll let him know I like you.
Yeah, exactly. He'll say, hey, thanks a lot. That means a lot.
But again, he's got to throw strikes. That's he's successful when he throws strikes.
And if this is Sparky's final year here, if there's a new manager, then that really throws a different part of the equation for a lot of these young pitchers, because now they've got to impress a new skipper all over again. Ripken laces it to left field. In front of Nevin and by him. That's going to clear the bases. Here comes Anderson to score. And a 6-1 lead. It'll be interesting to see how they score this.
Yes, it'll be very interesting because Cal hit a bullet. No doubt about it. That was a single, legitimate single.
I think Phil got caught in between whether to try to make a shoestring grab or then try to knock it down.
Well, after an outstanding ball game, all of a sudden the gates have opened for the Birds. Here it is. Ripken hits a bullet knee high. And looked right there. Looked like he slipped. May have lost his footing a little bit. And that'll clear the bases. We haven't gotten the word yet if that's a double or a single and an error all on the left fielder. But again, Phil Nevin in left field having a little bit of problems with his footwork. I don't know if his foot gave out or he just got tangled up a little bit, Fred.
And he's been pretty consistent in left field.
He's been fine, sure.
Coming up this month. First time he's played out there.
Did we get word yet on that hit? I don't see an error up there.
No, it must have been ruled a double. It certainly was hit hard enough. But then Phil would be the first to tell you he's got to knock that play down. Bobby Bonilla now switching over to the left side.
Well, if he lost his footing, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, that's going to happen. No doubt about that. But sometimes you can over-hustle. Try to make something out of a play that you can't.
But when he started this inning off with an infield single. So he'll give Ripken 3 RBIs. And a 2-for-4 day.
Well, he broke out of his mini slump here this afternoon.
And he came in 3 for 44 since his historic night. Bonilla goes the opposite way, hits it high, deep. Nevin going back. Can't flag it down. That'll score another run. Bonilla will come into third with a triple. That ball looked like it was going to get out of here, and then the wind held it up. Crowd a little unhappy that Nevin wasn't able to make the play. So is Phil himself. So Bonilla with 2 hits in the inning.
A high slicing drive. When the ball goes to the left fielder off the bat of a left-handed hitter, the ball for the most part will slice away from you. Bonilla thought he got enough of it to hit it out of the ballpark. But Phil Nevin goes back, and the ball keeps going away from him. He was back in time, but he was out of position to catch the ball because it was to his right a couple feet. The ball, again, keeping sliding away from him. Again, something he will have to learn. Here it is, another look at it. See, he was back in time. He was just not in the right position to catch it.
But 2 hard hit balls off Maxey.
Yeah, there's no place to hide out there. I'll tell you, they find you.
So Baltimore with a 7-run 7th. Completely opening up this affair. Palmeiro the hitter. 2 balls and a strike. He singled and scored in this inning. He's the 11th man to bat in the frame. Three and 1. Royals ready to swing on deck. Palmeiro has already hit the 100 RBI mark. Off the end of the bat. Tough play for Maxey. Has to bare hand. Guns it, throws it away. Bonilla scores. Palmeiro into second base, and the wheels have come off the wagon here. First official Tiger error.
That'll be a base hit and an error, and things have gotten ugly. Swinging bunt. You couldn't have laid it down perfectly. That's why they call it a swinging bunt. I knew the minute he hit that was trouble. That's a case, you youngsters out there to play, sometimes you just got to hold on to the ball, eat the ball. Now watch Brian Maxey tries to do something with it that he can't. Boy, he throws that right at the coach. Is that Al Bumblebee Brumbury at first base, the coach? Looked like he threw a sinker to first base also. Sometimes you just got to hold on to the ball and give him a base hit.
So here's Hoyles. He singled and left off Doherty his last time up. Drove in the tying run at the time, which seemed like a critical base hit at that stage. But since then, the floodgates have opened, and the Orioles have come up with 8 runs. Maxey away. Well, certainly puts a damper on the home finale.
Boy, and it was posting along as a real good pitcher's duel. 2 tough plays in the outfield, and then that miscue by Maxey.
Fastball inside. I'd say Mike Mussina's in pretty good shape now to pick up his 17th victory.
But he's had a long inning in the dugout.
And Moyer was throwing before.
Of course, the advantage you have here, you can go slip right back into the locker room where it's nice and cozy.
3-1 the count to Hoyle. And a walk. Well, we've had a little bit of everything in this inning. 8 base hits, a hit batter, an error, and a walk.
This has been like 2 different ball games for the Tigers. CJ and then the rest of the game.
So here's Baines, now the 13th man to bat in the inning. Crushed the ball his last time up for a ground rule double. Joe Baber loosening. Been a procession down there in the Tiger bullpen to the slab. Maxey missing. 2-0. Now, Sparky has not got much out of his sinker ball relievers here this afternoon, and Doherty and Maxey. And a strike.
I think you got a little help on that one, too.
I think so, too. That was a little low. Oh, the goodness of his heart, Terry Kraft ringing up the strike. Now it's 3-2.
How about that double he hit earlier in this inning?
Be a home run.
Oh, in Baltimore, that's
on the street.
2 home runs. Yeah.
Strike 3. So Maxey does fight his way back to get the strikeout. But a whole bunch of damage by the Orioles here in the 8th inning. They come up with 8 runs on 8 base hits and leave a man. So the Tigers have to play some catch-up as we go to the bottom of the 7th, trailing 8-1.
Coming up for the Tigers will be big Alan Trammell, Tony Clark, and then Phil Nevin. All right, we're going to catch you up on the rest of the Major League schedule. Most of it, I believe, is tonight. The Jays are at New York. Milwaukee's at Chicago. Minnesota's at Kansas City. The National League, Florida's at Philadelphia, New York at Atlanta. Pittsburgh's at Chicago, and San Diego's at LA. And the Rockies are at San Diego. All that action coming to you tonight. Boy, what has happened to the American League West? Look at this. California and Seattle tied at 72 and 63. Just tied, and wasn't that long ago, Fred, they had a double-digit lead. It was 14, 15 games at one time, didn't they, earlier in the year?
I think it was 11.
Was it 11?
Right. I know Seattle was 11 games back.
Yeah. And Texas 4 out and Oakland 5 out. And Seattle plays Texas, I believe, tonight also. Here's a look at the American League wild card race. Well, you can see California and Seattle are tied, of course, and the Yankees 1 game out. The Tigers hopping on their plane after the game today and heading to New York, so that'll be fun for these young kids to play the Yankees, trying to get in that wild card spot, and then Kansas City 3.5 back, and then Texas 4 games back. The National League, the Dodgers 1 game up over Houston, then Philadelphia, Chicago, and San Diego. It looks like it's going to be a dogfight between Houston, LA, and then of course the Rockies have started to play better ball also out there in the West.
They're a game and a half in front of the Dodgers, but you know the way baseball set it up, I mean, a wild card team really has no great disadvantage in the playoffs. I mean, they get in there as really a 4th division winner.
That's what it is. That's exactly right.
And I think, you know, maybe you make it where the wild card team, like in pro football, doesn't host a game, or maybe host 1 game.
Right. But you're right. It's like they won another division.
Yeah. Or have a seeding. Whatever. The California kid is back up there. Alan Trammell. Again, saluting the home folks.
Is that right? 8 inches of snow in Denver today. How about that?
Yeah, that could be a problem come postseason. But they've had a love affair out now, really, since the franchise was born. Trammell, first ball swinging again, grounds to Ripken. Second time in a row he has bounced out, 6-3. And here's Tony Clark. What a money machine that is in Denver.
You think they do well with concessions also? Oh, man. Well, the news has been positive for the new Tiger Stadium anyway.
Yeah, how close do you think we are?
Boy, that's hopefully by 98. Wouldn't that be great? To have a Camden Yard, Jacobs Field look, huh? All these great fans have been coming to Tiger Stadium all these years. Love this stadium. It's a fabulous stadium that served its time and served its people well, its players well, its fans well.
Seen him missing. 2 balls and a strike. Do you anticipate an announcement coming pretty soon?
Well, you know, the news is positive. You know, that the state is going to step forward and so forth, and it's just putting all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Johnny Clark, high fly ball, right field. Mark Smith now comes back on it as the wind grabs a hold of it.
I know Tiger President John McHale has been working hard, and he was involved with the Colorado new stadium, and now here. And I know things are positive, and that's the main thing.
Well, who better than John McHale Jr. to act as your point man, I'll tell you, for a new ballpark.
Pretty class act.
And having gone through it, as you say, with Coors Field,
Sure.
his memories are fresh in his mind, although different set of political circumstances here in this state as opposed to where he came from.
Sure. Which is true in every state.
Oh,
every
sure.
state has their own unique. Even Milwaukee talking about a new stadium. Seattle talking about a new stadium.
I guess they're still counting the ballots in Seattle on whether or not a sales tax will be instituted for a new ballpark in Seattle. Nevin is retired on the fly ball. Tigers go down 1-2-3, and Mr. Musina now cruising, leading 8-1 as we head to the 8th.
What a tough inning for the Tigers. As I mentioned, almost 2 different ball games. CJ and after CJ. Joe Baver now comes on to take over for the Tigers. 5-7, 6.34 ERA. 92 in the 3rd innings. 120 hits, 65 runs, 43 walks, and 64 strikeouts. Joe with the fastball, palm ball, and the slider.
Baver appeared in yesterday's ball game, went 1 scoreless inning. Faces Mark Smith, Jeff Houston, and Curtis Goodwin to lead it off in the 8th inning for the O's. 8s all around as they came up with a big 8 spot and 8 hits in the 7th inning. Ball rep foul. Smith is 1 for 3 today. Had an infield single in the 5th inning. That was against Nitkowski. But in spite of the 8-1 score, the Tigers have to be very much encouraged with the bounce-back effort of C.J. Nitkowski after a very quick outing his last time out against the Texas Rangers. He went 2 1/3, but today 5 strong scoreless innings.
Yeah, and then the game before that, Fred, we were in Toronto, and a line drive right back and hit him in the inner thigh. Had to leave the game there early too. So his last 2 outings, not good ones, but anytime you see progress, and that's what the Tigers are looking for, progress. They saw a different CJ here today. Now that's the 2nd time he's pitched like that. The thing I liked about him, and I talk about it so much, his aggressiveness, I think his motion, the way he handled himself on the mound. You can see the good movement on his fastball, sharper breaking ball, and a little more aggressive pitcher.
Ball wrapped to 3rd. Fryman getting in front of it for the out. 1 down. Who are some of the other pitchers, Jim, that Tiger fans can look forward to hearing from, if not making the ball club next year, but certainly names we'll hear in spring training?
Well, Drumright, I know, who's a hard thrower, legitimate hard thrower.
This year's
Lopez, right? Lopez, a little left-handed pitcher that you've heard Sparky talk about. You know, I think those 2, Gaspar, their #1 pick a couple years ago.
Justin
Thompson is without a doubt, you know, one of the fellows that will get a long look in spring training next year, and it seems to be that he's all the way back. So when you look, you know, Lehman's done a good job his last 3 outings. So Lira's made leaps and bounds when he wasn't really expected to do much. Sean Bergman at times is a mystery. He has terrific stuff. If you line him up, he's got your best stuff. But
I still think he'll be okay.
And Greg Gore, now there's a guy you can't forget about.
He's been nursed along since his comeback from the arm miseries, but has shown a very good fastball. The question is, what will his role be? Will he be a starter? Will he be a middle reliever? Time will tell. Baber getting Houston, waving at the foul ball.
Let's just say this, there's a lot of good pluses. I think there's a lot of parts of the puzzle out there, and that'll be up to Tiger Vantage to try to put those together, buy some time to develop kids. And you know, the word is that there are a lot of good prospects in the lower minor leagues yet, too. So
Especially the Class A level.
Yes, you would think the ball club would go out and get some big league ball players that would come over and help buy you some additional time with some of the pieces you have right now.
Tell you what, Jim, if some of these guys that we talk about develop here with the big ball club now and down low, all of a sudden your turnaround timetable is a lot shorter when you have excellent pitching.
Absolutely. Boy, I tell you, that can take you a long way.
Sure.
That can take you a long way.
So I think next year's spring training will be as wide open and fun as we've seen in many a year.
Yeah, listen, I've said it many times. I've been enjoying these last couple of weeks, and I'll enjoy the next week and a half. I'm having a good time watching these kids, and I have my own opinion, and I'm seeing pluses, I'm seeing minuses, but it's fun.
And you know, I think that's all Tiger fans are expecting right now. At least if they see hope and see a ball club growing as we saw this one grow in the early 80s.
Absolutely.
We tend to be more patient.
And you want to see a good effort, and these kids have given a good effort. Now, Phil Nevins had a tough time today in left field, but that doesn't mean he wasn't trying.
Popped up. Fryman hoping he has room. Near the dugout and back. So a 1-2-3 inning for Joe Baber. We go to the bottom of the 8th. The Tigers still trailing 8-1.
Eight runs, 12 hits for the Birds. 1 run on only 1 base hit for the Tigers. Coming up, though, Big John Flaherty, Chad Curtis, and then Bobby Higginson. Hey, it's flashback time once again. Let's go back to that great '84 World Series, Game 4. Let's take a look at it.
Game 4, and a wave of Motown mania roars across Tiger Stadium. Riding the crest, leadoff man Lou Whitaker. And the other half of Detroit's relentless 1-2 punch, Alan Trammell. Drove one out in the first. Come on, Al, let's go, baby, drive it! And was still turning heads in the third. Two at-bats, 2 home runs, and 4 RBIs for Alan Trammell, one of the biggest of the Detroit wheels.
Yes, sir. Many of the many great memories that not only Sparky but Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker has given us.
Hey, see if you can guess who's Sparky, because you know he certainly is going to take his place in Detroit sports lore in terms of longevity and one of our more famous sports heroes. Who do you think is his favorite and what he feels is the most famous Detroiter of all time, sports-wise?
Oh, boy, that's a tough question.
Think about that.
Tough question.
John Flaherty is leading off in the 8th inning. He'll be followed by Curtis and Higginson. And Sparky says because he is his favorite, it makes him the most popular Detroit sports legend.
That makes a lot of sense.
Curveball high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Just give me a guess.
Is he a baseball player?
No.
Gordie Howe.
That's a good guess, but Joe Louis.
Oh, okay. He was a great one.
Well, he kiddingly said that, of course, in Detroit, they love the players and hate the manager. He says that in jest. He understands that managers always will have their detractors. But
that's true. I mean, hey, I've heard him say many times, you get hired to be fired. I mean, it's just a matter of time. That's the way it is. But that's why you make the big bucks. That's why you have all those pluses that come your way, and you take the good with the bad. Goes with the territory.
Center base hit. Just a second base hit off Lucina. How about that? First since the opening inning. And Chad Curtis is 1 for 3.
And the first legitimate base hit.
Higginson's was a half swing. Check to right center field, and Bobby now stands in. 1 for 2. Tigers down a bunch as they go to work here in the 8th inning. Saw Kirk Gibson in the clubhouse before the game. He's here to certainly pay tribute in his own way to Trammell and Whitaker. Shoot a fastball for a strike.
Tell you who else is here today. A great one, Mickey Stanley. And Chad Curtis had asked me, I think it was yesterday, if he'd like to get together with Mickey Stanley. He'd like to take that next step as a center fielder. Yeah, and he always wanted to meet Mickey. Mickey was at the game today, and I thought Chad was going to kiss me. They had a nice conversation.
That's good. Well, you know, C.J. Nitkowski, when he first came to Detroit, spent some time with Frank Tanana. Frank pulled him aside and just talked to him about some things. It was a brief conversation. It was nice to see you know,
Frank Tanana, class act. Class act, like Mickey Stanley.
But that's kind of nice that Chad would go out of his way, because sometimes you get the feeling that today's ball players aren't as cognizant of, that's not to say everybody, but not as cognizant of baseball history and maybe as respectful as maybe we'd like to see them be of great players.
Let's just say that's pretty well known that that's true. But it was nice that Chad knew about Mickey Stanley and wanted to meet him and talk with him.
Now pop-up Hoyles puts it away for the second out of the inning. That's interesting.
And Mickey says, my goodness, what could I teach him? He's a great center fielder. I said, well, you guys both played a lot alike, I think. Aggressive, would run through the wall, like to get dirty, you know.
Mickey was a little unassuming. I mean,
well, Mickey was, you know, Mickey, we had a nickname for him. I can't mention it, but Mitchell Jack was one of them. But Mickey, you know, Mickey'd run through that wall if you asked him, you know.
But he never was comfortable talking about himself.
Well, Mickey didn't like to be interviewed. Didn't like to, you know, doesn't like to do stuff on television or radio and things like that. He likes where he lives and he does his own thing. He's been very successful, by the way.
Ryman hit the whole base hit. Curtis will have to stop at second base. So the Tigers get a couple of base runners aboard here in the 8th inning on 2 sharply hit singles. And that'll bring up the big fella, Cecil Fielder, who has had his hands full with Messina this afternoon, striking out the first 2 times up. Then was issued a walk in the 6th. Misses down low, ball 1. Now some movement in the Baltimore bullpen as Jesse Orozco gets up. More Tiger baseball coming your way on Passports in the Boston series. Maybe Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights. You see him? A strike. Well, that looked like it was wide. Cecil thought so. There's Orozco, the veteran left-hander. Cecil figured, hey, this guy throws enough pinpoint strikes, don't give him one. 1-1 the count. being right on a freezing curveball.
You talk about a nasty hook.
That was a late breaker, too.
Oh, baby.
One and two. Another one. Cecil was just able to get a piece of to stay alive.
But that one he took something off of and really had him out in front. Had him thinking curveball, but that didn't give in to him and throw the same speed.
Mussina had a stretch of games in which he won 8 in a row over the latter part of July and into August. Breaking ball again missing. But see, earlier in the ball game, he was going with fastballs in this situation, as you talked about. Now he's leaning on the hook.
It's interesting to watch pitching patterns, and that's why he's going for his 17th win.
3 straight curveballs to Cecil. Nice ball high and away. Cecil able to extend his arms and foul into the upper deck. Jones, their closer, now has joined Orozco in the bullpen. Two on, two out. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Cecil. Inside, and Cecil beat it foul again. It sort of is hockey weather in the air.
Yeah, really.
That young man came dressed appropriately. Ball again, Cecil. Wasting it. Jim, any idea, assuming that this new ballpark is going to be built, how much characteristics it will have of the old ballpark?
I would think I know Mr. Illich loves Tiger Stadium, and I would think there'd be some parts of Tiger Stadium there. You know, they stole some of our parts down in Texas.
With the overhanging right. Hard hit the left, but Brady Anderson has it tracked and it hangs up for the out. So Mussina dodges a bullet, gives up a couple of base hits. We go to the 9th inning, and Baltimore enjoying a 7-run pad.
Discover the defensive training secrets of America's finest baseball school in an exciting videotape. Baseball World's Defensive Drills video features professional scout and instructor Tommy Mansky and the same revolutionary new training techniques that have produced Baseball World's back-to-back-to-back AAU national championship teams. The Defensive Drills video vastly improves players' arm strength, running speed, quickness, agility, and infield and outfield defensive skills. Even coaches practice organization. Lou Pavlovich, Jr., editor of Collegiate Baseball magazine, calls it a masterpiece, the best defensive drill video ever produced. Many professional players are excited about this videotape. Just ask Atlanta Braves superstar Fred McGriff.
This is the instructional video that gets results.
Baseball World's Defensive Drills video makes a great gift and benefits players of all ages and ability levels. To order your copy for only $29.95, have your credit card ready and call toll-free. 1-800-253-8005. That's 1-800-253-8005.
It really worked for me.
There's the Price battery. Jack Pfister on your left, and Jim Price on I think it's the same last name. Little Jack, 7 months old. Lisa Price bringing the little package by this afternoon. Already he is camera friendly, by the way. Yeah, too bad he's not a proud father.
Cutest baby in the world. Jackson Walker.
Brady Anderson, the hitter, to lead it off against Joe Baber in the 9th inning. Singleton scored his last time up in the 7th. He's 2 for 5 today. Palm ball dips down low out of the strike zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tigers have shut out the Orioles for 7 innings. But the problem is that snowman in the 8th inning that they came up with. And Anderson gets his 3rd hit.
And how close were the Tigers to getting out of trouble? And you look back at that with Myers getting the first 2 outs, bases loaded. Then everything fell apart.
Now Ripken stands into another applause. Orioles with 13 base hits. Flaherty with a good block. Yeah, Myers had battled Anderson on 3 successive 3-2 pitches, and then Brady was able to get the infield hit that Whitaker got a glove on. And then the door was left wide open as Baltimore broke it open.
Yeah, things got a little ugly.
The count to Ripken. There's a strike. Ripken fouls away. Well, certainly Ripken is to Baltimore what Joe Louis is to Detroit. If you're looking for a most famous ever athlete, I mean, you talk about a guy who could run for mayor and governor all in one fell swoop.
Well, you know, and talking about Cal Ripken Jr. at Baltimore, baseball's it. I mean, that is their sport over there.
Ripken, a base hit. Look out, John Shulock, the second base umpire. Anderson will wheel over to third, and I think Ripken's out of his slump.
Breaking out with style.
3 for his last 44 before today's affair. Well, come up with a 3 for 5 afternoon.
14,803 came out to say goodbye to Lou and Tram. Today, maybe. You always have to say maybe, right?
14 hits now for the Birds. Runners at the corners. Bobby Bonilla plays off ball 1. Well, it's Baber to finish this 9th inning. Tiger bullpen is quiet. There's a palm ball that has Bonilla way out in front. He has faced Baber before in the National League. Go closer to the Braves. The palm ball missing outside. 2 balls and a strike. Bonilla hits it hard. Another hit. 3 in a row, and it's 9-1 as Anderson trots home.
I would say those 3 base hits were hit rather quickly through the infield.
Nothing cheap. So Bonilla with 3 successive base hits. He's 8 for 17 in the series.
You know, you just wonder with Lou and Tran playing here today if they will play anymore the rest of the year. Chris Gomez, Stevie Rodriguez.
Sparky has said the final day he's going to put him in there. Now,
in Baltimore.
Question is, will he bat him 1 and 2 in the order? He doesn't like to do that because he figures every game should be played the way it should be. And right now, they're not the 2 best hitters in for those spots, but maybe his arm could be twisted for sentimental sake. Ryan Bohannon now loosening. Second half of the season for Joe Baver as he strikes out Palmeiro. He had a good April and May, and has really taken his lumps over the last 3 months. That'll bring up Hoyles, the catcher. This is 1 for 3 today. Scored a run in that 8-run 7th inning. Knocked in the tying run at the time with a base hit to left. Ball away, ball 1.
Joe's trouble started with that palm ball. When he did get it over, it seemed like it would hang up. And it's just like a breaking ball. If you don't have that good snap to it, that good spin to it, it'll get you in trouble. And that's what's happened to him. There was a home run hit not long ago that he gave up. The palm ball started about belt high and maybe went down about 3 inches. And boy, you throw him there at that speed, that's nice speed to hit.
Well, the hitters have been really sitting on that palm ball. And when it doesn't have that split finger type of dive to it, pretty vulnerable.
Yeah, in fact, a couple games he went to the knuckleball. He was having so many problems.
Baver's fastball dips out of the strike zone. 3-1. Harold Baines on deck in the Baltimore ninth. They've already added 1 run here, with 2 runners aboard. Ball 4. Baver's the 6th. He says he'll keep this tradition and give his Tiger cap away on the final day in Baltimore. He always does it to the first young kid he sees. He always does that at the end of the season. Ball misses inside. 2-0 to Baines. Tim Cheater didn't even have to flinch on that one. Third base umpire. Baines is 1 for 4. Center field. Curtis. It'll score a run. And Mark Smith, the Baltimore batter. Now that's the one thing the Tigers must reduce next season, is all these games in which the opposition has scored at least 10 runs.
Some days have been pretty long out here, Fred, I have to tell you.
Tigers came in with an ERA team-wise of 5.49. That's 1 from the bottom. Minnesota still in the basement, and that's the ball hit to left by Smith, going back Nevins. It's out of here. A 3-run blast. And Joe Baver's ERA will take a pounding again. 13-1. Just the 3rd Major League home run for Mark Smith.
Well, they keep pounding Tiger pitchers now. 13-1. Mark Smith did not make There's no question about that one. You can tell without looking sometimes by the crack of the bat that it's out of here. No doubt about it.
So the Orioles have added 5 more here in the 9th inning. After that 8-run 7th. All these runs, of course, charged to Baber. Jeff Houston looks at 2 straight balls. Houston up the middle. 1 hopper to Baber. Houston, the lone Baltimore batter without a base hit today. And the Orioles go to the 9th inning, leading 13-1.
"13 runs on 16 base knocks for Baltimore. The Tigers only have 3 base hits off of Mike Messina and 1 run. But coming up and only apropos, Lou Whitaker, Alan Trammell, followed by Tony Clark.
Well, I'm sure the crowd will give both of those guys their just due.
And their biggest ovation.
I would think so, because both Tram and Lou, and I like this, even though John McHale was more than eager to have some sort of a send-off day for these two. Both of them saying, let's wait till the season's over, let's do it properly, and if in fact this is our final year, let's do it the right way. And McHale obliging. Lou again saying thank you to the Tiger faithful as they both come out to the on-deck circle. Meaningless game in the standings. Maybe even more meaningless by the score, but on this send-off day, perhaps for these two, a moment to remember. The 9th. 1 strike. Messina has 4 of the 14 Baltimore complete games this year. 0-2.
And looks like he's going to pick up win number 17.
Another foul ball, still 0-2.
Well, he came at him with 3 straight fastballs. Maybe he wants him to go out with touch of class too, huh?
Little Denny McLean, Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
One down. And here's Tram. A little doubt that number 3 will stay in the Tiger family somehow. In what capacity? I'm sure Tram doesn't even know right now. Cherished resource plucked from Southern California. Slapped harder at Bonilla, but he guns out Tram. perhaps his final bat at Tiger Stadium. You know, you hear so many, I think more in baseball than any other sport, where you always hear guys talk about respecting the game and not wanting to do anything out of the ordinary that they wouldn't normally do. Especially guys who have hung around as long as Lou and Tram have.
To be scrutinized like you are. But baseball goes on. Tony Clark is the future of this ball club.
Yeah, from the past to the present future in the batting order. Two balls and a strike to Tony Clark. He's 0 for 3 today. Now that his injuries seem to be behind him, you can only look for bigger and better things from this big fella. Trying to hold up. Conchita says, Strike 3, and that's the ball game. So a complete game, if not masterpiece, certainly a dominating performance by Mike Mussina, as the Tigers close the home campaign for 1995 on the short end of a 13-1 score. A lot of photographers around the Tiger dugout hoping to get one more frame if they can of Whitaker and Trammell. And again, what is in all likelihood their final appearance at the corner of Michigan and Trumbull. Jim and I will be back to close it out and wrap things up here from the corner after this.
Steve Garagiola. If you watched Live on Pass earlier, you know the Tiger season is just about over. The home season is over, and while it's not official, it appears to be the end of an era at Tiger Stadium. The last home game for Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker as that dynamic duo comes to the end of the line. Tram says their names will be forever linked, and that's nice. See what you miss when you miss Live on Pass? Tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. We'll see you then.
But a big day for Lou and Tram. 13 runs, 16 hits for Baltimore. For the Tigers, only 1 run, a 3-hitter by Mike Mussina. He was just absolutely outstanding. He is now 17-9. John Doherty gets the loss. He's 5-9. Home runs, Mark Smith, the only one for Baltimore, his 3rd of the year. And our players of the game, 2 players. Mike Mussina with a 3-hitter, gave up 1 run, and C.J. Nikowski, what a job he did. A fine outing for the young left-hander. C.J. Nikowski and Mike Mussina are co-players of the game. And the play of the game is brought to you by Price Pfister, the fabulous faucet with the funny name. And Cal Ripken broke out of his slump with style today. Here it is with a hard shot to left field. Ends up being a double as Phil Nevin looks like he slipped trying to come in for the ball. That cleared the bases, and that was really the big turning point base hit for Baltimore, as they really sent a lot of runners across home plate to take the lead that inning, Freddie.
So the Tigers now head to New York and get a feel for the pennant race as they take on the New York Yankees this weekend in the Bronx at a Yankee ball club that has its sights set on a wild card spot. So the Tigers have a role to play here as spoilers.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great for the young kids, especially to get a taste of it. Maybe they can say to themselves, hey, maybe we can do this next year. Maybe we can turn it around. It's always good to get that experience, but it's always even a little bit better to play against a team that has to win. The Yankees have to win. And I'm going to tell you what, Freddie, from experience, it's fun to spoil those type of teams.
That's for sure. Before we go to our scoreboard, I want to take a chance to give you a personal bit of thanks, and to Ernie Harwell as well for making me a part of this baseball fraternity of Tiger baseball. It's been a lot of fun in spite of an up-and-down season, but it's been really enjoyable.
It's been my pleasure. Enjoyed working with you, Freddie, as always. You know that.
So the Tigers now, again, head to the road for the rest of the season. They'll take on the Yankees this weekend, and then they, of course, face the Boston Red Sox next week at Fenway Park. Ernie and Jim will be having all the action for you here on Past Sports, and then they wind up the campaign in Baltimore at Camden Yards the following weekend. All right, let's check the back one more thing before we head to the board. Alan Trammell Lou Whitaker coming out to, in all probability, say thank you one more time to the Tiger faithful.
What a terrific scene that is.
I was hoping they would do that. Forever in Tiger baseball history, they will be mentioned as one. Whitaker and Trammell, or Trammell and Whitaker. And Tram said in the pregame, if you've heard, he's very proud to say that they'll always be mentioned in the same breath. All right, around the American and National Leagues, all the action coming up tonight. New York will be hosting Toronto as they try to sweep that series. Chicago will be battling Milwaukee in a game that doesn't mean much anymore. Kansas City, with the only other team with some postseason aspirations, they're home to Minnesota. In the National League, Philadelphia hooking up with Florida at the Vet. The Mets will take on the Atlanta Braves down in Atlanta. Pittsburgh facing the Cubs tonight. Los Angeles trying to at least get a playoff spot, wild card, or the Western Division with an important date with San Diego. And Colorado still in first place, facing the Padres in San Diego. That about wraps up our coverage here on this memorable day at the corner in the home finale. Again, we remind you to join us next Monday night as the Tigers will take on the Boston Red Sox in the opener of a 3-game series right here on Past Sports. For my partner, Jim Price, and our producer-director,